Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
The Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No. We're going to teabag fight.
Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Decided that I have a love-hate relationship with the Firestone Walker Invitational Beer Festival.
The International Invitational.
What do you mean? The hate is that much that it's worth mentioning? Or
Your liver hates it.
Yeah, I love it, and my liver hates it.
Oh, yeah.
Most of my body hates it, as a matter of fact. So, the first 14 silent minutes of this episode are brought to you by the Firestone Walker Invitational. While we all just have a moment of silence
and sleep deprivation
for the pieces of our souls that we left in El Paso.
I did that all day, that moment of silence thing.
Yeah.
I took a lot of naps today. Yeah, I was catching up.
This is the oldest I've felt in a while.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm not that old.
I've left several pieces of liver enzymes in the porta potties across the great city of Paso Robles.
I mean, what is... I don't know what it is about beer festivals that make me lose my moderation gene entirely. Like, I work in a bar all day long, and that's fine. None of that, I have the moderation gene down on a normal basis. But when I get to a great festival, or like NHC is going to happen in another week, that little piece of me gets left in Pacheco, I think, and the rest of me goes to the fest.
It's hard to keep it under control, especially that festival, right? Like most of the festivals you go to, they'll have 40 breweries pouring, and 11 or 12 would be really stellar, right?
Yeah.
This one, they're all stellar. You can't go to anything and try any beer that you don't want to have another one of.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then you're camping with all those same people and their beers afterward.
Right.
See,
so
that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like what it is for me is I feel like those idiots who stand in line for rope drop. And then they start like run walking to their favorite brewery, and they can't get enough of it, and it's like super exciting for them. When we go back to camp, because we can't really do a whole lot of stuff there because we're working. It's the same thing. It's like, oh my God, there's Bagby beer. I've never had Bagby's beer before, and I've been super stoked about it. And then there's a Rare Barrel with every bottle in the entirety of existence ever in the world ever. And there's all these other breweries. There's Faction. There's this place, and you just kind of go fucking nuts.
And you're drinking with the brewer.
Right. And you're hanging out with your friends. And
before you know it, it's 3 a.m., and you started at 11 a.m. the morning before.
Right. You started that early because you ended late the night before, and you need to just keep going and going.
We're lucky to get in that campground. It's great.
And even when you're drinking Easy Jack at less than 5%, when it's 12 days old, you can have enough to still get drunk.
Yeah. 17 to be exact.
Yeah, that was the amazing part to me. So at Brewers Camp, they had Firestone had a little trailer, that was electric, and we had a bunch of Firestone beers on tap, and they kept rotating them out, but they would put the keg collar over each faucet.
Yeah.
And then there was the kegged on date, and it was 11 days ago.
Yeah.
8 days ago. And you're like, this is insane. How do you not keep drinking it just to...
I thought that at one point there was a 3-day-old Easy Jack.
There might be, but I think your math was just shitty at 2 in the morning.
Yeah. But it was really a great time, and a bunch of just awesome brewers and good people. Shimke did her first multi-day festival with the Brewing Network crew.
I did. My first on-the-road experience as well.
And you survived.
Alicia, did she pass all the tests? I mean, really? Every test? Even the first one?
Pretty much every test.
Hold up.
The blood honorable mention.
The blood test will come back in about a week or so, and then we'll see for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so Kevin, our general manager here at the Hop Grenade, also, we made Kevin and Kim Shimke both play Edward Four Loco hands.
I love this.
So, we stopped at the Quickie Mart in, Martinez on the way out of town. Didn't tell them what we're doing. Get in the car, and picked up two 22-ounce cans each, so one in each hand, and duct taped them to their hands.
Yeah.
And then they had, so they couldn't use their hands until they finished the Four Loco, which I am proud to say that our general manager, Kevin, drank every drop of both hands. That's right.
That's right. That's really good.
Yeah.
This is bouncing down the highway in a motorhome?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, wow,
I
that's
can't
crazy.
even imagine what that was like.
So then we dropped him off at the ER.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be in here to talk about it, but he's still recovering.
Picked him up on Sunday.
He's on bed rest.
Shimke made it through, what, one can?
No.
Well, that is not true.
Oh, sorry,
I had sips of the mango, I had half of the lemonade, and then I tried some of Kevin's. But I will say, I won in that I lost. So I am totally content with how that happened.
Because Kevin was in rough shape by Sunday.
He's still in rough shape.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
and I think for him it was more the Four Loco than the Firestone Fest.
Yeah,
It's only the Four Loco.
In a related story, Kim, you are the smartest person who was on that trip.
Obviously. I didn't need the Four Loco situation to tell me that, but it validated such. So
Yeah. We didn't it's not like we made you ride in the RV without your pants or anything like we've done to others.
No,
So
she did it voluntarily.
That's true.
True, yeah.
That's true.
And then I don't know what other test you passed, but you did all right, I guess.
She didn't get lit on fire, and that's pretty much about all you can ask for.
I have all my body parts. Every appendage. I'm good.
I believe that in our past it has been a test. Sam has tried to light people on fire during Brewing Network events, so and on actual fire.
Rhino, to be specific.
That's right.
Yeah, he tried to light a listener on fire.
He was passed out on the toilet.
He was unconscious, and he did get jinged.
Right.
Oh, Rhino. Whatever happened to Rhino?
He might be spontaneously combusted on his own at some point.
He's extinct now, I think.
Yeah. But we did have just a great time at the festival. There's going to be some video content released for you very soon. I think Push already put together a couple of the videos that we did over the weekend today. I just got to review them and get them up on the site for you. So stay tuned to our Facebook page for that. You could always also just sign up to follow our YouTube page, because those are the first place they always go, and that's just youtube.com/Brewing Network. And then we tend to put them all on Facebook now also. Was it your first Firestone Fest, Shimke?
It was, actually, yeah.
How did you like it in general? What
it was
your
great.
experience?
I mean, it's insane how many amazing beers that are there that you wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to try. So things like Side Project, Garage Project from New Zealand, things you would never see. So that alone was pretty great. But also meeting people, the networking is fantastic. I think it was really cool that we were part of the Brewers Campground.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of what happened and a lot of what I appreciate about it took place outside of the fest itself too.
Sure. Do you have a standout beer?
I have to say, one that I didn't get myself, but I tried some of Kevin's and Scott's, was the Passion Fruit Sour from Crooked Stave.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to Crooked Stave before. Yeah, and that one, I knew to expect great things, and I had that, and that definitely was a standout. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a Crooked Stave beer. I thought that I was being served the wrong beer because it was a framboise-looking beer. And it was a volunteer who gave it to me, not the brewer. And I tend to not trust volunteers anyway.
Right.
If they know that. And she's like, oh, yeah, so this one is our blueberry saison.
Yes.
It was red like a.
That's the one that I had.
Like
That's what I ordered for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Crooked Stave confirmed it was in fact blueberry, and it did in fact taste blueberry, and the skins of the blueberry make the beer red, not blue.
Well, and
apparently,
not only that, your distrust went so far as to you called the brewer out, or you didn't call the brewer, but you asked the brewer.
I did.
I
asked. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, no, that's just what you get. And, you're like, oh.
Well, I was just confirming,
Yeah.
just fishing and making sure that we had it right in the end. We did learn a lot of things. We took a poll.
Okay.
And,
here we go.
Many polls.
We took a lot of polls,
Yeah.
and we ended up discovering that the Filipino kid is better than Steve
No,
Perry.
we did not.
No,
This is insane.
Every time,
Are you guys retarded?
every time we figured out that Steve Perry is better than the Filipino
Every
kid.
single time, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
That should be a poll on what polls we took to figure out the poll.
And I would even say that most of the people that voted for the Filipino kid later changed their vote once they realized what they were at.
Well, listen, but I invalidated those votes because you got to make up your mind for one.
I just want you guys to know that for the last about 6 hours of the last day of the festival, this is all that was happening. And then
This was the entire ride home.
And then, yes, in the RV on the way home, and I literally had my earbuds in because I was driving. I listened to like probably 3 hours of radio, and I took my earbuds out and immediately just heard you guys again having this exact same conversation.
It was cyclical, that's for
Can
sure.
I ask who was polled?
Everybody.
Everybody in that room?
Everybody within shouting distance of me.
For the love
at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
Justin and I woke up hoarse on Sunday after the fest because we were polling so many people.
I would have stabbed you both in the neck.
Yeah. Well, what happens for me at multi-day beer festivals like that is I get bored.
I've been to them with you, I know.
About just beer the whole time. And around brewers, it's hard to get onto another subject, so I tend to just bring up a random thing. And then if I'm really drunk, I'm a stickler about the random thing, and I holler about it for 7 hours.
He stays on that thing forever.
At the SoCal Beer Festival a couple years ago, Justin was not sober. And he and I walked around with a tiny little keg. I don't remember what those are called. Corny kegs?
A Scotty.
A Scotty.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, you have a glass, have some beer. And just everybody he saw, you have a glass, you have some beer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were a little bit obnoxious.
It happens.
Yeah, but at least he's giving away beer at that point. This was just no matter what. It was like it's like those studies that come out that say whatever, and then there's one that refutes the study. He basically just didn't pay attention to the second part and just skewed every result to his worldview.
His rebuttal was nostalgia for everything.
Yeah, everyone only takes Steve
which
Perry.
makes no sense at all.
So Apnel Paella is the better.
You are also showing anybody who would watch your phone. You'd hold up and you'd show them a video of Filipino Kid. Here, look, see.
Yeah.
He's doing a better Steve Perry than Steve Perry.
Well, then we proved it because we watched one of those videos with a hologram of Steve Perry singing next to Apnel.
Yeah.
And anyhow,
Danielle Paella.
So we discovered that Danielle is the better singer.
We did do that. He's a better version of a parrot.
What a fun time!
Yeah,
and
thanks Firestone for inviting us. That was amazing. I've gained 12 pounds, I think.
Yeah, good people, good time. All right, so as usual, we've got a lot to do tonight. We've got a great brewery in with us. It's like Southern California month here at the Hop Grenade, I believe, right?
Celebrating LA Beer Week, moving back to June.
Okay. Plus we're spending a bunch of our own time in the Southern California area. So tonight we have Monkish Brewing Company in the studio with us today. And they came all the way up here to be in the studio with us, which I appreciate very much. I got to visit their brewery a few months back. I was down there just visiting some friends, and they took me to Monkish, and all the beer was just really great. You're going to meet Brian, and you're going to meet Henry from Monkish tonight, and learn about their philosophy of beer, which is a little different. I think you guys are going to enjoy hearing about a brewery that takes a different take on beer and why they brew and what brewing means to them. It's going to be a good time. So stick around for that. Of course, the show is brought to you today by our sponsor, More Beer. You can go over to morebeer.com right now and check them out. They bring you this session and every session that we do, and we always appreciate that. For announcements, our BN anniversary party is upon us. BN and White Labs, we're sharing 30 years together, 10 years for us and 20 for them. It's June 10th down in San Diego right before the Homebrewers Conference. You can get tickets right now, bna10.com. Did I even invite you to the party yet? Are you allowed to go to the party?
You didn't.
I didn't?
No.
Are you going?
I'm not, no.
Okay. Are you not going because I didn't invite you?
I'm not
because you
going
have
out
to
of
work?
spite, is why I'm not going.
Yeah, get all you can right now.
I don't even think I realized that.
Ask for a raise.
I think there's still people who've worked here a lot longer than you that get left out of emails, too, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Like on year 20, you'll get an invite.
Oh, there's something happening on June 10th?
No, there's not.
Oh, all right.
Nothing.
Good.
Nothing, Beardy. Yeah, so...
She just can't take another party with you so soon.
Right.
I need a significant break, a significant amount of time between when I see you guys next.
I feel like you had a great time with us. I think you've discovered that we are valuable people. And
well, that's absolutely not correct.
And that we are going to be a nice addition not only to your work life, but to your personal life.
Yeah, and we are fantastic caricature artists.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with all of those statements.
Wait a minute. Now, we spent half the ride home drawing pictures of the people that we think Kim Shimke dates.
Oh, no.
And,
her ideal man.
Yes, her ideal man, if you will.
So
based
sorry,
on hard-hitting questions that I've learned from watching reruns of Luther about how they do police character sketches.
Yeah. So I think we ended up coming up with a very unique man worthy of dating Kim Shimke.
Do we
Suffice it to say, I will never date again based on the sketches alone.
But you kept the sketch for future reference.
It wasn't for future reference.
I want you holding it up at bars, like next to people's faces.
No, when
Have you seen
you
this
send
man?
on Tinder, take it out and take a look at it.
Yeah. Did you post it? Are we able to post the photo?
No.
Is she going to use it for the restraining order?
You mean this photo?
Oh, yeah, this photo. So,
JP, your camera's on, so if you want to put that on.
for example...
I don't. Nope. No.
For example,
No, I'm
one trait that we thought Shimke would be particularly fond of is a hook for a left arm.
Not only a hook, it somehow evolved into an anchor.
It's
a one-arched
Can
anchor.
we see it in the camera, Beav, if I just hold up the image right there?
Yeah, that's great. It
I
actually
assumed my standards were low already, and then they draw a man with a hook for an arm and a double dildo in his hand.
I thought that was a boomerang.
Well, listen.
Well, if you throw it, it'll come back.
Well, when not being used as a double penetration device, it is a boomerang.
It looks a lot like JP, actually.
It does. I like that you have him.
He has more hair than I do.
I like that you have him wearing Converse. Like
Yes.
you very specifically
Well,
rendered the
because
shoes.
The model we based this after wears Converse.
I see.
Yes.
So
Yes.
What's with the cross on the shirt?
Well, we
Is he
just...
an EMT?
I don't remember why we drew that. Yeah.
oh, that was a Beardy edition.
It was?
I believe so.
Yeah, because he's a punk.
What?
In an ironic way?
With the cross?
No, it had to do with our interrogation. Our line of questioning led us to believe that he would be wearing a cross T-shirt.
Right, okay. I believe that's true.
I believe that's accurate. He also has no neck. It's just a floating head.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He doesn't
great.
even have a head. He just has, like, hair.
Well, and some cheekbones.
Right.
Those are the ears.
Yeah, let's not get too crazy, Shimshi.
So,
Let's not raise my standards anymore.
I think that you learned a lot about us, and we clearly learned about you.
Clearly.
Not only that, but we taught you about you.
That's right. Yeah.
And I hate myself now. Thank you for that.
All right.
What?
All right, so go to BNA10.com and get your tickets now. We want to party with you in San Diego. It's going to be a good time. We got a couple bands playing, including the Creepy Creeps, which are famous in San Diego for
band work,
being bands, being a band.
Yeah,
I think they bring go-go dancers, so that's fun.
Oh, I like things.
Yeah. Better than the Brewing Network go-go dancers.
Oh, those were pretty good, though.
Which are actually, our past ones. I was talking about the ones we're having this year, which is basically Beardy and Sam. So,
well, we've been working on a dance.
Yeah,
a routine.
Sounds pretty good.
I can't wait for it.
Don't show too much skin.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the Homebrewers Conference begins on Thursday, and I think you can still get tickets for that. So if you are on the fence about going, come down to the party and then go to the conference. You get a lot out of the National Homebrewers Conference. There's tons of great seminars so you can go learn something from your fellow homebrewers. You're going to get to meet all your fellow homebrewers, hang out at club night, and it's just, you've been hearing us talk about it for years. So now's your chance to go. It's in San Diego. It is next week, and you can still go get tickets over at ahaconference.org. All right, support this program by doing your Amazon shopping through us. Just click the Amazon link on our homepage. Do we have an Amazon product of the week, and does it cure hangovers?
I hate to turn you down. I don't think it does. The camera? Can you cure hangover? Maybe if you distract yourself by shooting enough photography.
Yeah,
I don't know,
maybe
it's a
so.
stretch.
All right.
The Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II Somebody purchased it for $1,099.
Wow, that's a little chunk of change for us.
Yeah, that was $40.60, in fact.
Sweet.
I love when people get camera parts via this link because they always are paying top dollar for their lenses and their apertures. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it might have been my brother for all I know. I don't know, but
that's cool though.
I purchased things today through Amazon through the.
Beautiful. I think $40 is what we spent on Four Loko this weekend, so we're already back to even.
Yes, you paid to take a couple of years off the end of Kevin's life.
Nice.
So thanks for that, and keep it up.
Yeah, and only about 2 months off at Kim's.
Yeah. Maybe a week even, not even. All right, subscribe and join the BN Army just by clicking the donate button. If you're a recurring donor, you get first dibs on everything that we do. For example, I sent out early notification for VIP tickets, which are now sold out already to the BNA 10. So subscribe and join the Army. That's how you get in on that kind of stuff. Get all these updates and more over on Twitter.
Blurb.
And the other one. Scott the Jew, he's our guy. If he can't do it, nobody. I don't know. Yeah. Send your show ideas over to Scott at thebrewingnetwork.
He can't do it. Put on some rye bread.
And send your feedback to feedback at thebrewingnetwork.com. Feedback is brought to you today by our good friend John over at Beer Law Center. You can go to beerlawcenter.com. John's doing work for us at this very moment. Yet another theft of the hop grenade on the horizon. They happen all the time. This one in another country. It's a sad, sad state of affairs. Go to beerlawcenter.com, and John can help you out like he helps us. Keeps us protected. All right. Our first feedback is sad.
It is sad, but important.
But important. JP often makes little personal notes about the feedback he sends me, and this one he warned me is sad.
It is.
Probably fearing I would cry or something, so you're giving me like a moment to...
No, I just didn't want to yell at you and go, why did you put something so depressing in the feedback? What a bummer.
All right, well, Ryan writes in, hey, dear Brewcasters, first off, thanks for all your programming. I've only just discovered your shows, and I've been listening to all the new episodes as well as trying to catch up on the archives. Appreciate your knowledge, questionable humor, and debauchery. I've been homebrewing for about 2 years. So... on a more serious note, he says, I have a humble request. I'm not sure if it would fit in with the tone of the show, but I thought it wouldn't hurt to ask. On Saturday, May 16th, at around 1:30 a.m., 2 of my classmates at the UCSD School of Medicine were killed and 3 injured by a drunk driver going the wrong way on the freeway in San Diego.
Oh, Jesus.
They couldn't help each other. Some medical students they were.
Yeah, maybe they weren't that far along. Can't even begin to describe the tragedy and loss we are feeling. Ryan says, I believe the BN could prove a huge ally in encouraging those who drink to never drive while intoxicated. These tragedies happen every day, and all the sorrow and heartache could be prevented if people were more thoughtful about their actions. I don't really know anything specific that you could do other than encourage people to not drink and drive. And you have a large audience and so on and so forth. So anything you guys could do to help out, I think, would speak volumes to all of my friends and colleagues. We would be incredibly grateful. Even if you just make fun of me and call me a pussy or something on the air, mention this story.
I wish I would have seen this email ahead of time. I would have pulled the PSA you did a couple of years ago on this subject. You passionately asked people to use their head. And that was in the days before Uber, where now there's this service that makes it's easier than ever.
It is easier than ever. First of all, Ryan, I suggest you go out right away and get a grieve job. Because it always helps with this process.
You might be able to give yourself one.
Yeah, if you have to. Like, if all else fails, you can give your own grieve job.
Right.
Secondly, I think you're absolutely right, and this is something that we preach on the BM. We have been doing it for years. So I got I always shamefully admit this because it's certainly one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I got a DUI years ago, long before I ever started the BN, and luckily I didn't use my blinker at a turn, and I got pulled over and. I was over the limit, though, and I was guilty. And for me, it was one of the best things that ever happened because it was a real wake-up call. I'm not going to lie. Before that, I was drinking some beers and driving, feeling like I was okay. And, I think sometimes you think you're all right, and maybe you're not in the position to make that decision. Mm-hmm. So from that day forward, I just made the decision to not even think about it. If I have 2 beers, I don't drive. That's just pretty much my rule. And there's so many options to not have to drive. It's obviously tragedies like this happen all the time. Most people think that tragedy will never happen to me. But even the expense part of it is pretty incredible, how much it costs you personally if it isn't a tragedy. There's just no reason to do it. I mean, I don't know. It's one of these things like, I don't know, you wouldn't get nobody gets in their car anymore and goes, I wonder if I should put my seatbelt on. Like, you just know, you put your seatbelt on.
You wouldn't know it by the Amber Alert signs in California, which is reminding everyone click it or ticket. Now, that problem has been solved. Yes, everyone wears their seatbelt.
Can I buy that space? You're not going to put it to good use.
Something else, because we all do it. You can see what I mean by what kind of a no-brainer that is. We all know how reckless it is to not put your seatbelt on. Well, I feel exactly the same about drinking and driving, and it's just a needless crime. Now, pissing on the street, I get it. Sometimes there's no bathroom around. Yeah. Driving is this is a stupid thing to do.
You don't think that we could pass a law to protect everybody else who isn't drinking? So, for example, on Friday and Saturday nights, if you're not drinking, you have to wear a helmet right. while you're driving. Yeah. Then that way, these people probably wouldn't have,
nothing might have happened. God, it would have to be worse than that. On a Friday, Saturday night, if you're not out drinking, you must lock yourself in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to be out. I mean, think about what you're doing to your fellow human beings. It's a public safety hazard. Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah, if you're not drinking, get off the road, dummy.
Yeah. And here's always the crux of this.
The road is for drunks. That's what you're saying, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like on a Saturday night, 11 o'clock, a large percentage of the people that are on the highways have been drinking.
Which is really ridiculous. Here's always the crux of the argument for me. People go, well, I'm fine. I feel fine. And you've heard this before. Yeah. And the truth is, whether you're fine or not, I promise you that about 10 times out of 10, if you're even questioning it, you're over the limit. You're legally over the limit already. If you even have to say, I'm fine, I guarantee you're already over the limit. And the limit's pretty low. It obviously changes state by state. Here in California, it's 7. All right, it's 07. So if you're a 08, you're drunk. You're over the limit.
Yeah, get a breathalyzer. Right? I have one, and it's great. Yeah.
And it's just a silly. I just don't get it anymore. I don't understand why people. It just doesn't make sense. Probably going to get a DUI tonight. I've gone nuts about this.
Your bike got a flat tire? You gave up on that bike thing, didn't you? You're going to bike here?
I think I'm too broken today to ride the bike. I will Uber.
Electric cars count?
I'm in electric cars. Yeah, that's not driving.
Right, yeah.
Go-karting.
I'm in a toaster, officer.
This thing. I'm not even plugged in, officer. Look, you see a cord trailing behind?
There's no engines in this thing.
Come on.
Go prevent a crime or something like that. I'm sure someone made a rolling stop back there.
So just, come on, stop being fucking idiots, really.
I know.
Take a cab. Uber's super cheap.
Uber's in Concord? I didn't realize.
Uber's in Concord. It's great. So even when Uber wasn't in Concord, when we started the Hop Grenade here and we do these shows on Monday nights, I typically take a cab home. And it was costing me $30 to get home, which I'm not happy about spending $30 to get home.
Cab,
but it's way cheaper than DUI. And, of course, nobody's going to get hurt. So even the $30 I was paying. Well, a couple months later, Uber started driving here. It's half the price. It cost me $15 to get home now. $15 is nothing.
Mm-hmm. And there are other options, too. There's Lyft, so there's no real excuse to be driving home drunk.
Controlling yourself, those things.
And frankly, I think you're an asshole if you do it. I'm just going to say that to you. Personally, if we're at a brew fest together and you're looking at me in the eye and you've listened to this program and you've heard me say this and you're the guy who does it, I actually think you're an asshole. You don't even have to admit it to me. Just know in your own head, I'm looking at you and I think you're an asshole if you do it.
It's the first time you've ever been right, Justin.
Thank you. All right, Ryan, I'm real sorry to hear about your friends.
Seriously. And med students. God.
That's a tragedy.
Vibrant human beings.
People we need.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's
versus engineering students.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Take them or leave.
Lose one or two, whatever.
The more important question is, do their roommates get a free pass for the semester?
Didn't that used to be a thing? It was a suicide thing or something. If your roommate killed you, I don't know. I never knew if that was a rumor or a real thing. I used to try to encourage my my roommate that his life sucked.
Oh, you got a B+, huh? That sucks.
Like, oh, God.
I have a final next week. Aren't you depressed?
Yeah, you're not even handsome or anything.
There's a gun.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen your parents visit you once this whole semester.
It's a good thing you're loved by your family. Oh, wait.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry to your friends, too. All right. John writes in, hey, Chodes, I've been listening since November 2013 and ran out of backlogged episodes. Luckily, when I ran out of old episodes to listen to, I got a job at my local homebrew shop, which is Brock's Homebrew Supply.
Brocklanders.
I took a pay cut for the job. Excuse me. But now I get to talk beer all day instead of listening to you talk about it. So you've taught me what I need to know to have the confidence to apply for the job. I just wanted to say thank you and suck it, Beardy.
Oh. So is he saying he's not going to listen anymore? Is that his goodbye?
And he said instead of. I'm working here instead of listening to you. Why can't you keep, do both?
I don't know.
Thanks a lot.
Good question. By the way, we had a listener here today come in the studio and ask us why we always say suck it, JP.
I would like the reason.
We couldn't answer the question. We didn't know where it came from or why.
Well, it started for Schumann.
Right.
And somehow just transferred over to the more handsome of the two, which would be me.
I see.
Yeah.
So anyway. Steve writes in, hey, BN gang.
So anyway.
So anyway, suck it, JP.
Great.
Hey, BN gang, now that the BJCP has revised the style guidelines, are Jamil and Plissé going to start walking us through the styles again? No.
Moving along.
All right.
Hey, Brewcasters. I just finished listening to your 511 session. Tasty and Nate talked about keeping it simple and only using a couple types of hops. I've seen clone recipes for Pliny the Older. So it's just reading it as they come, folks.
Yeah.
And younger. And both use a bunch of hops. I'm curious, what are their thoughts about these top beers using so many hops?
If you're Vinny, you can use whatever you want.
You fucking want.
What do you think, Tasty?
Well, that's a beer like Pliny. I remember when Vinny first came out with the recipe. He said hop layering, multiple additions adds like a level of body to the beer. What he does, and what I recommend, is keep it within the same family. Like if you're going to use citrus hops, if you're going to use citrus hops, and use melon or berry corn, the other kind of hops, like noble hops and so forth, sort of together, so you don't get that conflict, if you will.
Okay.
But
so they're the exceptions to the rule, I guess.
I just think that if sometimes when you're drinking a beer, if you can find something in it that you can attach to, like a singularity of some sort, whether it be the malt or the hops, I think the beer sort of becomes kind of muddled. It's sort of like it's just a hoppy and a malty beer, but I can't, as a brewer, because I know the ingredients, I can't pick something out of it that I can identify with.
Yeah,
like one of the hops or one of the malts. If it's all 6 malts and 6 hops, it's kind of hard to pick something out.
And you're not Vinny, so
yeah, that's for sure.
I tried to tell Vinny how to brew once, and he looked at me, and I quote, "You are not a brewer, asshole." were his words.
I was trying to give him recipe advice one time. I may have been drinking.
Yeah.
But I started listening to my stuff, and I'm going like, "Hey, wait, what about the weather?" I just got off like, "Wait, we're not going to talk about this anymore."
I stopped and laughed my ass off too, because we were talking. We were homebrewing together at somebody's house, and I think the discussion was about the suds of Star San being left on left on the fermenter, and Vinny wanted to hose it out, and I was like, "No, you don't do that." And he's like, "No, I want us to hose this out." And I said, "No, I've interviewed the people who make it. It says no rinse, right? I think." And we're going back and forth a little bit. I'm not catching that I'm doing this. And finally, he looks at me, and those are his words as he takes the hose and sprays it into the conical. "You are not a brewer, asshole." That's basically what happened, which I enjoyed.
Wait,
I then realized what I was doing and laughed myself.
Right.
Why use it if you're just going to spray hose water on the kettle?
Well, this was my argument.
Vinny, it's only as clean as your hose water now.
Right. This was my argument. And, of course, at that point he said, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." So
there is some evidence that residuals like that do have some effect in the final beer. A lot of times it's in head retention or staling or something like that. I think Lagunitas did a study on it. So they do and it's probably Vinny does, he just do a hot water rinse.
Yeah.
He can. We can't do that on a glass carboy, obviously.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Let's get through these here. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Petros et al. Sent from Bing for your amusement.
Is that Latin?
There you go. I think it's Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he says to you, get your buddies at B3 to put together a fermentation chamber a la IKEA, a flat pack in a box. So I guess they can be shipped. Or have somebody else do it. You all keep saying the yeast do the work and the humans just need to give them what they want. So I hope a BN team member or sponsor, not Adam or Eve, get this done before it is on Kitchstater or Indiegogo. P.S. This would have been a Drunk of the Week call, but the number is not on your website.
It is on the website.
Sent from my helipad. Okay.
There you go.
What is our number? 855-WIN-DOTW. And it's on the website. Yeah.
Email me at tasty@thebrewingnetwork.com and we'll talk about that product.
There you go. Okay. Dear us, whatever. I love listening to your show. It's full of amazing content, which I'm forced to respect. Yet I feel I can no longer stand by quietly and let this depravity continue. Telling JP to suck it seems harmless, like a little white joke.
Yeah.
But when you really break it down, you can only come to one conclusion. It's simply perpetuating society's rape culture.
Oh, my God.
Beaver, please stop applauding.
Shut up, Scott.
JP. I feel like an organization such as the Brewing Network is capable of recognizing this subtle seed of brewcasterism and has the moral backbone to take a stand against it. JP should have the right to suck what he wants when he wants. That is his right. We should respect that and not assume the right to have him suck it simply because he is a giant knob jockey.
Well, see, the misunderstanding is that JP always wants to suck it. No. When we say that, we're granting permission.
Right. Which maybe is the same thing.
You're like opening the gate.
Right.
I get it. Okay.
It's encouragement.
And then he has a weird screen name with a number in it, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
Fine.
It always bothers me when people use numbers.
Yeah.
There's a reason that
you can't sound them out.
You can't sound them out.
Math
I
is
hardly
hard.
even recognize what they are. Like you take the one thing I'm good at, the English language, and you strip it from me by putting a number in there.
Backwards E.
You're actually
upside down L.
Yeah. P.S. JP suck it, he says.
There you go.
Okay. And finally, Captain Obvious writes in, even though Moscow is a soulless ginger, I have to agree with him that 311 is fucking rad. I'm wasting my day at work listening to Pandora, and Amber comes on. Great song, great band. F you who don't agree.
No, F me, apparently.
And me as well.
Your wrong opinion.
Same to you, asshole.
And most people who don't still live in Santa Barbara.
And that's the worst song.
Amber is the color of your energy.
Yeah, as much as I like 311, that song I'll skip when it comes on. But Captain Obvious... Thanks, dude.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks for the help. Keep in mind that people that are disagreeing with you like Vietnamese lip syncers and butt rock. So take their opinion with a grain of salt.
Wait a second. First of all, he's Filipino.
Yeah. And there's only one of us that likes the Filipino lip syncer.
Well,
and I don't like either one of those things.
One of us in this room and everybody at the Firestone Walker Beer Festival.
Before they were clarified.
You were drunk.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're proud to have Monkish Brewing in the studio with us. We're going to taste some of their beer and learn about what they do. Hang in there. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring Monk's Blood, made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters, this is Jamil Zainashev, and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
All right, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us.
This is the porn version of the session.
Way thrown off. It's like a weird audio file in my.
I thought it was at the Gentleman's Club.
Yeah. This rejoiner's on
Was
there
this
from
Kyle?
Yeah. This is
Kyle
Hollingsworth from the String Cheese Incident. So when he came on the show, I had a Kyle rejoiner
Oh, then that's
because
what
I
it
do
was.
radio like that, Jay.
Kyle's not on tonight,
Awesome.
though.
With no
all it's making me feel like doing is read Adam and Eve live reads.
Well, is this not a perfect time then? Do it.
I guess I could. I was going to do a different one. Adam and Eve. Go to adamandeve.com right now. You can use coupon code BNARMY. You get free stuff. You get free shipping. You get 50% off just about any one item.
And you get laid.
You get 10 free DVDs, which is where you lay in bed and pretend you're getting laid. Or wherever you do it. I don't know.
Who knows?
Talk to me about it.
In your double wide.
And you're, yeah. All right, adamandeve.com. Use coupon code BNARMY. It's a real thing. And then they like us for it, and you get some cool stuff. And you don't have to go stand at the creepy adult store around the corner from you in Pacheco. All right.
Unless you want to.
And also, we have to do our Twitter game today.
That's right, we do. And you told me 20 seconds ago to remind you, and I forgot.
What's our Twitter game?
Well, it was, wondering about whatever Bevo learned in her all-girl trip to Canada this
And
past
by all
week.
girl, you mean Bevo's one other friend other than us.
My only other friend who is a girl.
But I decided to change it to the most important burning question of all.
All right.
Steve Perry or the Filipino kid?
Filipino kid.
Good question.
So-
I think that we're going to find out once again.
Once and for all. This will be it.
That there will never be a poll that will satisfy Justin's opinion.
Right.
And
Or
then-
that'll satisfy Justin.
And the thing I love most about this question is it doesn't require any further explanation. Yet sometimes people would go, "What do you mean?" And I would go, "Just answer the question." Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, you are not American, for one.
Yeah. Or Filipino, apparently.
Or Filipino.
By calling someone who's not Caucasian by their race.
But really, who hasn't lived under a rock for the last 20 years doesn't understand the question, Steve Perry or the Filipino
Well,
kid?
and you weren't even that eloquent because people go, well, what are you talking about? And you would just repeat the question.
Yes, because it requires no further
And
explanation.
then they go, well, like, what do you mean? Like, in what context? Steve Perry or the Filipino kid?
And I would just yell it louder.
Yeah, they would go
Louder and slower.
the Filipino kid, and then you go, see, and then you turn around and they go, what is he talking about? And then we would go, the Journey front man. They go, oh, Steve Perry. Everybody. And you're, no, I invalidate your question.
Yeah, and I would just yell louder, like when I speak to foreign people, and they don't understand.
Yeah,
I just speak louder,
or to Beardy.
And as a huge fan of the Filipino kid, you didn't even know his name, but you knew the actual good front man of Journey's name,
right?
Steve Perry.
Yeah, because I feel like the Filipino kid is an entity in
and of himself.
Yes.
Well, and then once you looked it up,
he transcends his name.
You did Google it while we were arguing it.
I did.
And read it.
But then
nouns.
But then also started asking people if they preferred somebody that wasn't actually his name.
Yes, Apnell.
You said Apnell Paella.
Paella. And it's Arnell.
No, it's
Arnell.
You still don't even know what it is.
Well, it is Arnell.
No, it's Anel.
No, it's Arnell.
It's Arnell.
Unless you do, well,
I thought it was
if
E.
it's Anel, you don't pronounce the R. But I don't know. I don't speak Tagalog.
I thought it was A-E-N. I don't know. I don't even know his name.
Shut the fuck up, Beardy.
Steve Perry is the better one.
Thank you. Let's move on.
Please do.
All right, so that's our Twitter game today. Let us know. Don't give us a bunch of broad explanations.
No descriptors.
No. The question is simple.
It's you answer 2 words or 3 words. That's it.
That's right.
That's all you need.
That's it. All right. Welcome to the studio. Our guests from the southern part of the great state of California, Monkish Brewing Company. Welcome, guys. We got Henry and Brian in the studio with us.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being up here.
We've already started off here with their Crux Belgian-style single ale brewed with elderflowers, and it's not quite cold yet, but it's so damn good. I'm glad it's not.
Beautiful. Yeah, opened up already.
Yeah.
Then. So I've never met Henry before the show today, but I was down at your brewery. A mutual friend of ours, Mike Hernandez, had brought me there. Well, I think at least you know him through the brewery. He's big fans of you guys. And he brought me there. And Brian, you were there. You were so nice to us to let us just try everything and took good care of us. And I instantly became a fan because Brian gave me just some great beer from you guys.
From L.A., right?
And from L.A., which, always a surprise.
Brewed with Northern California water.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm not going to. So, my friend Mike, who showed me the place, he knows I have a particular hatred in my heart for L.A. It's just something about it makes me feel uncomfortable and gross.
Oh, the restaurants, the traffic, what else?
But I felt at home. It was like a refuge away from the rest of L.A. inside Monkish. And of course, now there's, in all fairness, quite a few great little breweries popping up in the area. We really like Eagle Rock.
Oh yeah,
McLeod was real good. Who we've had on the program.
Beechwood, Three Weavers.
Three Weavers, absolutely. Three Weavers is going to pour at our anniversary party as well as Monkish.
Yeah.
Which is very nice of you guys.
You know where else Monkish poured? I think maybe you were out of town, Jay. We did a craft series with them here at the Hop Grenade.
Yeah, you weren't here.
Yeah,
I texted you that night.
No, he was.
I texted you where he did the finger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Jay, you bailed to Ole because they had Cantillon on tap.
I did.
Well, but
I didn't. Okay, in fairness, I did not just ditch you for Cantillon. Cool. I had a dinner date with friends that happened to be next to Ole that happened to be serving Cantillon. So it was a coincidence.
Well, we went there later with Tasty.
Oh, you did, and got Cantillon.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that you were there.
I probably had just left because anyhow. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, they said they couldn't get rid of you. They drank the place out of all you dropped.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they like me very much anymore now that we're the Hop Grenade over here, but they still couldn't get rid of me.
No.
Yeah,
we had to ask for a bottle. You drank all the draft.
I had 5, I think. I mean, when do we get Cantillon on draft?
No, that's great.
It was a pretty sweet lineup.
Yeah, it was very nice. So before we get into the brewery, I want to ask you guys something about the LA beer scene, and I've asked other brewers this too. Why do you think it has been kind of slower to develop than, say, San Diego just to the south, or obviously up here in the north? LA was just a little slower for the breweries to start opening. Why do you guys think that is?
I think partly, if you look at Eagle Rock's story, it's just so hard to open up in L.A., especially L.A. proper. When Eagle Rock opened, there was Craftsman already open in Pasadena, even though they were always been under the radar. And then after Eagle Rock, you did have Strand opening and a number of other breweries in peripheral areas. I think Skyscraper was also open, but it wasn't LA proper. So Eagle Rock was the first brewery to open, I think, within LA proper. And because of all the heartaches they had, it just kind of explains why it was so difficult for any brewery to even consider doing it. So now what you have is breweries opening up in different areas, like in Torrance. I think we're up to 6 breweries.
Wow,
One opening up pretty soon.
Nice.
So I think that's a major big part. Of course, you could also talk about LA culture being very finicky, fad-driven.
Well, more cocktail, too. Like they're like the bar scene. Like craft beer was...
I think for alcohol consumption, LA spends the most money on alcohol consumption, but the reflection of breweries and craft beer didn't really play a big part of it.
Yeah, okay.
Is it money like because people are getting poolside bottle service at the standard hotel? That's what's driving up the...
Oh, we offer that at Monkish, too.
Yeah, it's our cool ships not being used. So it's actually
got it. So you guys are making a good profit then, huh? I like hearing that.
It is pretty good.
So do you think that those hoops have now have gotten less? The doors are now more open for breweries, or does every brewery still have to really jump through a bunch of hoops?
I think if you're in LA proper, you're still going to have to jump through a lot of hoops. The big area that a lot of the breweries that actually open up in the areas that were open in, like the South Bay area, they all want to open up. Even us initially always had a desire to open up on the west side, the Santa Monica, Venice, that area. Very difficult, especially with the Coastal Commission and protecting the water there. There's so much red tape, price of real estate. I mean, look at Firestone Walker and their brew pub.
Yeah.
They're having a very hard time opening.
Okay, yeah.
So I think you start seeing a lot of different, more growth in different cities. So we're in Torrance. Next to us, all these different cities, there are breweries opening up.
Okay.
And then you have places like Long Beach that's trying to make things a little bit easier for breweries. Orange County is pulling a lot of breweries also, like City of Anaheim. If you want to open a brewery, you don't have to go through a conditional use permit. You can just open, basically, a tasting room. So they're willing to bypass a lot of different laws to make things easier for breweries.
Starting to streamline things.
Yeah.
So a little slow, but now finally getting it, that this is a real thing that's going to be around. Okay.
But downtown L.A., you have, I think, slated 4 or 5 big breweries opening.
Okay, nice.
There's a lot of money going in.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
I don't know if it's a good thing.
Yeah, when you say big breweries, what are you talking about? You talking about the macro breweries or big craft breweries?
It's big.
I would actually prefer macro breweries.
You would?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I would like PBR to open up again.
To open up again?
Yeah.
To actually have a brewery?
Yeah.
Be a U.S. brewery again?
Okay.
Now, I think quality would be an issue. It's, the same thing that everybody notices. It's the 90s mentality of people wanting to open up breweries for money. So people are looking at bigger models. Well, I think one thing I've mentioned before to, some publication is that in LA, the difference is that, at the brewery, I used to give a lot of tours, and during the tours, people would always stop me. Instead of asking, questions about beer making, they would ask me questions about the business side of things.
Okay.
About how many barrels I was making. I'm like, how do you even know what a barrel is? They asked me what is. So they became very aware of the profitability. And so you don't see breweries opening up in LA or wanting to open up from a simply deep passion like you see in San Diego's with all the nanos. Putting quality aside, at least there's that passion to open up and want to brew beer. In LA, everybody knows you need to open up at least with a 15-barrel system, this many vessels, so that they just see dollars.
Numbers.
Yeah, 15's even small.
Yeah.
It's like a minimum.
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of 30-barrel brew houses opening up in LA right now.
Okay, interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. There's some recent articles talking about this being a sort of a modern-day gold rush, this craft beer thing.
Yep.
A lot of people in craft beer, like yourselves and smaller companies, no one's claiming that they're making $1 million, but a lot of breweries are doing very well, and they're all opening, and people from the outside are seeing that happening. It will be interesting to see how that shakes out, because even in the gold rush, not everybody, struck it rich.
Most people didn't.
Yeah. So, okay. And so, now, Henry, you're the founder and the brewmaster.
Yep.
When did you guys open?
February of 2012.
Okay.
Took us a year to build out, so we leased the place about a year before April or so of 2011.
Okay.
And brewed our first batch February of 2012. Opened up the tasting room in 2013.
Got it. So a long process.
Very long process. Long life.
So I'm glad you said long life because I'm reading through your biography, so to speak, before the show, and I'm gone. How old is this kid? Because you're not that old, but you have had a long life. You have a unique background, at least in my experience in interviews for the past 10 years. Yours is somewhat unique. What is your PhD in?
My PhD technically is in New Testament.
Okay. Theology, essentially.
Theology, early Christianity.
Okay. So you come from please always actually I don't even think I have to tell you this. Always correct me if I'm wrong. You come from somewhat of a religious background.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you grow up religious?
I grew up nominal Buddhist.
Okay. And you became interested in theology through that?
No, not through Buddhism. I met my wife now. We were dating 16. I knew she was Christian, thought that she had to go to church, so I told her, hey, I'll take you to church if you want to go to church so she could be good.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to cover those bases, man.
Yeah.
So, eventually I started going in, and I don't know, something just kind of clicked for me. I bought a Bible, started reading it, and just kind of went down that line. After that, I joined the Marines, and then I think during that time I started exploring a little bit more of that, and then just got involved in church over I was stationed in Hawaii.
Okay.
For 3 years.
For 3 years. All right. And so you got out of the Marines, and then what? You went to university?
No, my goal was to be I wanted to be a pastor.
Okay.
So I came back, went to Bible college in San Dimas, where they filmed right across the street from San Dimas High School, where they filmed Bill and Ted's.
Yeah.
San Dimas High School football rules.
Yeah. So going there, I kind of fell into the academic side. Figured that in Bible college, it wasn't just people reading and praying. It's actually people studying and taking exams like a school. So
yeah.
I really liked the academic side of it. And then after I finished that, went to seminary, got a master's in New Testament, early Christianity, and then decided to continue doing that. On the side, still exploring being a pastor.
Okay.
That stuff didn't really work out for me because people skills kind of low on skill.
Are you saying you're low on people skills, Henry?
Yeah, it's usually a prerequisite, I guess, to like people.
Okay.
And enjoy people.
to be their pastor?
Yeah.
Which you enjoy theology, but not necessarily the people attached to it.
No, I enjoyed people without enjoying people. I enjoy the idea of kind of like taking care of people, listening to people, and wanting to better people.
Yeah.
But just dealing with people and the social aspects, even as a brewer, to deal with going to festivals.
Oh,
and
it's
stuff.
rough.
I hate it.
Yeah,
you do. You don't like being a brand ambassador at festivals.
That's why
I've never been to GABF. Didn't go to CBC. I sent everybody else. I just don't like crowds. I don't like dog and pony shows. They frustrate me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You like people in theory, but in practice,
you just
the idea of people. Because I feel the same.
When
exact
I go
way.
on Wikipedia and I read about people, it really excites me.
Right.
And then when I meet one of those, it just kind of I don't know what to do with them.
You're like, I'm not sure where that excitement went.
You're like,
they talk.
Yeah.
You like fixing problems. So if you could just have a news article, like a Dear Abby thing, people just write in, you deal with it, and then you're done. Wash your hands of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well put, Warren.
And by the way,
also public speaking terrifies me.
Okay.
Like even after I got a PhD, I was lecturing at university and stuff like that. I always hated it.
Well, as soon as we go live here, we'll talk.
Yeah,
about
how you doing the whole radio thing live?
Not good.
Like, I can see the sweat on your brow.
No one listened to this show ever, so he was good.
Yeah, nobody listens. And by the way, you're doing great. And I actually like radio for kind of the same reason that at least it's a little isolated, and you're just talking to us in a sense. We know that people are listening, obviously, but the point is to have a conversation. So,
but I think like this environment, I like it that you guys are still genuine. After if it's commercial break, you guys are still normal. It's still continue the conversation. I've been on a lot of different, all the beer video podcast going on right now. People come in, want to interview us.
Yeah.
Some really dry people, but right when the camera turns on, they're just this bubbly personality, and it catches me off guard, and I'm just kind of speechless, don't know what to do because
what just happened?
And then it goes off, and they're just retreat into their little corner.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after that, decided to got a master's, went and got a PhD in New Testament. My goal is to be an academic and teach and lecture.
Okay.
So I went to University of Aberdeen in Scotland, dragged my wife and kids over there, and was there for about a couple of years.
Okay.
Finished PhD, came back, bad economy. And so schools stopped hiring. Seminaries were closing down. People found out that, universities found out that their history professor could teach this subject.
So these were public schools too, not just private. Yeah. Okay.
So
interesting.
So it was rough.
Yeah.
And then ended up teaching at Fuller Seminary. That's how I met Tripp and a number of people. Mm-hmm. And then,
can we just stop right there because I've never mentioned Tripp on the show, but I would like to give him a plug right now because he's a fascinating human being who does a beer. So Tripp's going to hate me the way I describe it. He does somewhat of a beer theology podcast where they sit around and drink beer like we do, and they discuss some.
Very lofty.
Yeah,
very lofty. It's weirdly smart.
Difficult concept of theology. And from what I understand about it and what I've listened to, I have listened to a little bit, it's really fascinating. I like what he does.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, you met Tripp not through beer, it sounds like. Is that what you were?
No. I met Tripp through beer.
Okay, through beer.
It's different lecturing.
Oh, and what's this podcast called? So we can give the proper...
Homebrewed Christianity.
There you go. You can look up Homebrewed Christianity if you want to go check it out and listen. Which sometimes he even records it at Monkish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So having the PhD in hand, lecturing at Loyola Marymount, I was there for 5 years, teaching part-time only. Being an adjunct professor is probably one of the worst things. They treat you like crap. The students do.
Okay.
Colleagues, it's kind of rough.
Really reinforcing your love of people.
Yeah, and then thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeing my frustrations.
Yeah, I could.
And then during the summers, you had no work, so you had to get part-time jobs. So I was lecturing part-time at 3 universities and seminaries, and then also holding about 3 to 4 part-time jobs. And so at some point I decided, I wanted to homebrew as just something as a hobby.
Okay.
So
you got into homebrewing, but you also at this point you had Belgian beer and were inspired by that as well.
Yeah. So I've just always been a person fascinated to drink and try different things. So drinking beer, I've always been. I remember gravitating towards imports and then whatever craft I could find, Pete's Wicked, whatever. Growing up, and then when I was in Aberdeen, Scotland, drank a lot of British malty beers and got old really quick.
Okay.
Drinking real ale.
It did? Wow. Because it was the same.
Enough already?
Your narrow flavor spectrum? Or
low alcohol. It's cold. It's gray. You're depressed. You just want to get drunk. And you have to drink 20 of these to feel anything.
Oh, okay.
So you're not a camera. So you're not a camera member.
All of the Scottish girls are just out drinking you.
Just so you're embarrassed.
Right. Yeah. Wait, but that's leveling the playing field. If they're getting drunker and you're not.
But he's married, so who gives a shit?
Oh, I guess, it's too late for you.
Right.
So after that, just decided to just give up on really spending time on beer. Drank a lot of scotch. Spent a lot of time drinking scotch. And then somebody gave me some, I think it was Leffe.
Yeah.
And I kind of opened my eyes to Belgian beers again, and then started trying every Belgian beers I could find while over there. Then coming back, while I was home brewing and drinking only Belgian beers, I was only brewing Belgian beers.
Okay.
I think I brewed one porter that I still put Belgian yeast in.
So they were just more interesting to you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's sort of the point, I think, where I become extra fascinated with your story, because here you are, you've spent all this time earning a degree in something that it sounds like even you still would have liked to do if jobs were available, and you do this almost 180 to becoming an entrepreneur. How does that happen?
My wife told me it's time to move on to something else.
Yeah?
So it's pretty simple. And then I think we were looking at different options, and we always kept the idea of I think after the first batch, just figuring that, hearing about Eagle Rock and the brewery and what Patrick did, seeing that it's, maybe this is something we should consider.
Okay.
So we did. So we always considered it. And so it was one of many options. And I thought about going back to school because school is pretty easy. I thought about going to law school or something that could make some money.
Sure.
I hear that about law school.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Well, if
you don't have to like people to be a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost the opposite.
And people don't have to like you either.
Where was the feedback on your homebrew coming from that you thought it was good enough that you were considering a brewery?
No feedback. Actually, I just threw everything on the table, never joined a homebrew club, never really shared my beer with many people. It's just with everything I do, I just take everything very seriously and kind of criticize everything in life.
Okay.
And so even today, I'm not very happy with where a lot of my beers are going.
Really?
And so people always ask me, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? I have no favorite book. I have no favorite movie. My favorite book, my favorite beer is the next beer I'm going to drink, the next beer I'm going to make.
Okay.
It's, for me, in life, it's a journey towards something better.
Okay. You like to move and evolve.
Yeah.
And,
So
it also sounds like you're very self-critical, which I think is important in beer making, to be honest, because you have to kind of taste that beer and know, I screwed that up, and not be prideful about it in a sense, so that you start to ignore things about your beer. So, in other words, I'm kind of saying you seem to have the right mindset to make great beer, as opposed to others who come in and go, yeah, I'm just patting myself on the back. I'm really making that good beer now,
So you saying the first objective feedback you got on your beers was once you were already a pro? Not objective, but not from you.
Objective, yes.
You were calibrating to the Belgian beers.
When I opened the brewery, we knew we didn't have enough money. Opening a brewery does cost money.
Yeah.
And we knew we didn't have money, but then we always thought that at this stage we should possibly get more money, and it oftentimes didn't happen. And somehow we got the brewery open, did a lot of the construction ourselves. I was on YouTube learning how to sweat copper pipes and doing a lot of things. And still today I do a lot of the maintenance at the brewery.
Okay.
So I'd never told anybody that we were opening this brewery. I didn't even tell a lot of friends and family because we always had exit plans in place.
Okay. And what did you?
So I remember when we opened, we brewed our first batch of beer. We got enough money and everything to brew our first batch of beer. We packaged it. I got some samples, and I went down to Beechwood and a number of accounts, and I'm like, here. I made this beer, and everybody always asks me, you made this beer. You have a brewery. Because they thought that I contracted or something like that because they have never heard of Monkish.
Yeah.
And so it was quite for them. I didn't really realize that until now that not many people don't self-promote themselves early on.
Right.
So that was really the initial feedback.
Why
was that first batch, and also realizing that most breweries, because I did become friends with some of the brewers like Rob from El Segundo. I think he dumped his first batch. A number of breweries I always heard they dumped their first batch, and then when I was expecting to dump the first batch, I'm like, okay, I should dump it, but you know what? I'm going to carbonate it so I can practice carbonating.
Yeah.
And so we carbonated it, we kegged it, and I'm like, it tastes like beer.
I'm not dumping that.
Like, it's nothing really bad. Maybe they'll forgive me because it's my first batch. And then I remember I took it, and Gabe was like, hey, this is really good. So he bought a keg right on the spot. During that time I was doing sales with kegs in my car. I'm like, here, take one.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you tell people about it, even if you have an exit strategy? Do you have a fear of being embarrassed that I started this big project and what if we don't make it?
Yeah, it's one of those I don't know for you, but if radio failed for you, how would you feel listening to radio and small startup stuff?
Pretty rough.
People ask me about theology right now because if that path didn't work out, I'm still paying student loans. I think I have more student loans than I do brewery loans.
Okay. Wow.
I don't like to look at my, theological books that I have. I have bookcases full of them. I don't like to think about teaching. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to talk about any of that stuff because it reminds me of a path that didn't work out for me.
I understand.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think partly is I didn't want to have to deal with another failure.
Yeah.
If and I still think about it. If I closed Monkish and it didn't work out, how would I feel about drinking craft beer?
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't drink craft beer.
It's a good question.
Go right back to Scotch.
You're defining failure by your terms. I mean, we wouldn't call that failure, but you're defining it as failure.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I relate to that a lot, not wanting to go, and I don't even like watching watching television shows or radio shows that are more successful than the television show we produced or the radio show that we
which
produced.
leaves a very small window.
Which is why you don't listen to any podcasts.
I don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't watch much TV shows. I read a lot of goddamn books because I've never written a book. So, so in my mind, I'm still the best author that has ever.
Right. You
written,
will be the best author.
If the BA...
It's like me and wine. I don't know anything about wine, but I sure know a lot about wine. Because I really don't know anything about wine.
Right, that's right.
That's what I drink.
Yeah, and I also sort of then refuse to learn anything formal about wine for the same reason. No matter how the rest of this goes, I can always go enjoy wine.
That's right.
I feel the same way about personal hygiene. So
we know. Yeah.
What?
All right, let's talk about a beer quick. Let's wedge a beer in here, shall we?
Newcastle Brown. Your thoughts?
Yeah. One of the beers that we have for me tonight is Crux. Tell us about this beer.
Crux is our, I think, second beer we released. Actually, it was our first beer we made. We call it Oblate. It was actually an attempt to make this. We couldn't figure out the efficiency of the system. But eventually, we came up with this. This is our second beer we ever released. It's Crux Belgian Single with elderflower. We started off early spicing a lot of our beers. I drink a lot of tea. Like, again, just always trying to keep my mind off of what I'm really focused on. So this beer is spiced with elderflower.
Okay. That's a nice beer. And I had this for the first time at the brewery, pretty fresh, I think. And in fact, you might have even given me a couple different years of it or something. I'm not sure. We had a few beers that night, Brian, so I don't remember which bottles were which. But
I apologize.
Yeah, do not do that. Is Crux one of your? Is this your flagship beer?
We don't really call anything flagships, but we do make it more than not. I think one of the things is originally I didn't want to make any flagships. And then when you open with only certain beers and then you start getting support from local places like bars and they want to keep it on handle, it's hard to say, no, you can't keep it on a handle, permanent handle. So we have to make certain beers more often than I probably would like to make it.
Yeah.
I like more of the creativity side of things. So it's hard for me to repeat making beers.
You would almost do just one-offs every time if you could.
Wow.
If I could.
If you could, you wouldn't repeat. And some breweries are doing that. Not many can. That's not a model. I think this is a good time to ask you about kind of your beer philosophy. Is you don't do pale ales and IPAs at all.
No, we don't.
And it's a difficult market to make money in when you don't.
Yeah, even though people will say that, since we only make Belgian-style beers, even if we brew a lager, I'll still make the lager with the Stella Artois strain.
Okay.
So I can still call it a Belgian lager.
Yeah.
It doesn't move as fast as pale ales or just more conventional American pub-style beers. So
it's a hard line to take.
It is. So people always think that we have a niche.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so great. You did this niche that you only brew Belgian-style beers. You're the only one that's doing these kind of beers, and the brewery was doing it, but now they've kind of went a little more esoteric with higher ABV and specialty beers.
Yeah.
So they always say that we are doing something nobody else is doing.
I like it.
But
it's
still
Torrance.
a hard move.
It's still Torrance.
And, yeah, it doesn't matter how many breweries open up in the same industrial business park. If they all brew pale ales, they all will sell pale ales and IPAs. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You have a sign in your brewery that says no MSG and no IPAs.
Yes. No MSG.
I'm good on that.
It started off as a joke. When we first, another rant I have is, so we opened up on the east side of Torrance, not a very great place. We are actually on the border of Torrance and Harbor Gateway, which is unincorporated L.A. County. The nation's worst gang, 204th Street, was across the street from us.
Okay.
Maybe they still are. I assume they still are. But anyways, it wasn't a very good area, so we didn't expect other breweries to open, and we're currently sandwiched by 2 breweries.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Is that recent?
Yeah, so Smog City is just half a block away from us.
Okay, got it.
And then we have Dudes on the other side.
Okay.
So it's it's kind of interesting that when we first opened, we only brew Belgian-style beers. People came into the tasting room. They didn't know what they were getting into, but at least they were open. So one of my issues I have now, people ask me, like, with all the breweries and the beer hopping going on, how do you feel about it? I'm not a big proponent of it, even though I do like my neighbors. It's that it kind of, your sole identity is kind of tarnished by torrents and then by being on a beer tour, because people used to come in and were willing to try whatever beer you have.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now people come in because they went to all the other breweries making pale ales and IPAs and conventional beers. They come in, they're like, give us your 3 best IPAs.
Yeah. They want to compare.
It just gets old. We're like, no, we're only a Belgian-style breweries. Okay, give me a stout. And it's just, it's got old. So at some point we put the sign up, sorry, well, no MSG, no IPAs. As a joke. But people do get upset at us as being pretentious.
But in a sense, now consumers then are getting to know the market better than they're getting to know the actual product, like what you guys do. In other words, they know what the market is now. Everyone does pale ales and IPAs, so they just immediately assume that you do, as opposed to knowing more about craft beer.
Yeah. But honestly, if I was to do it again, maybe I would open up like a society model to do IPAs and still do the Belgians.
Why? For financial reasons?
Yeah. Some days it's a lot easier to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That sign went up. It can go down as well. I mean, you didn't say forever. Right?
Yeah.
Just like Warren.
There's a bunch of breweries around here that said they never make an IPA.
Yeah.
They're making IPAs.
And they're making IPAs.
I wish they would have stuck with that.
Yeah. But their families might not, if it's easier to pay the bills
the
that
bank
month.
said, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we educated as craft beer. I always say we, like I own a fucking brewery. But we educated people on IPAs and pale ales. We can educate them on other styles as well. But it's harder to educate the masses when you're just giving them what they think that they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, there's like the whole. There's 5 different basic beer styles, and Belgian's one of those, and hoppy beers are another. The hoppy beers take up a large portion because people like those flavors. They really do like those flavors.
They like the alcohol.
It hides the alcohol well. It's every year there's a whole new set of ingredients that come out in the form of different hops, make the beer more interesting. And whereas like the Belgian beers, which are great, it's just a smaller segment of the drinking public.
Sure,
but they need to be serviced as well.
Yeah, but I call it our beers. We make quota beers. We're that one tap handle on a set of 12. Yeah. It's that one Belgian beers. Summers are great because people like, for some reason they think summer hot drinking weather will drink the light Belgian beers or whatever. But everybody makes a saison during the summer, so it's actually more competitive for tap handles. So it is a very tough business model.
I think once the general public realizes that Belgian beers typically have a little higher alcohol than a pale ale, people are going to be on to Belgian because that's all I would wager from my friends that aren't in the craft beer scene. The ones who drink craft beer go for IPAs because of the alcohol, and that's it. They don't necessarily like the bitterness. They don't like the hot flavor.
They don't like
they want to get drunk really fast.
When you see IPA attached to everything, the style right behind the name, it's so easy to order. It's safe versus a Belgian Dubel, a Belgian Tripel.
Right, because you have to work at figuring out what you're drinking.
And so, I mean, we could, in a sense, go against and kind of sell out to what I believe I could call our doubles ambers.
Sure.
It's like, if we feel like one beer like Crux's Belgian single is moving a little, we call it a Belgian single. If I wanted to move a little bit more volume in the tasting room, all I have to do is change it to a Belgian blonde.
Yeah.
And then sales and tasting room just skyrocket.
Just goes right to the roof.
Or if I wanted to add just wheat in it, people will just order it more so.
Because they're keyed into those
familiar.
names.
Yeah, they're familiar with the wheat.
It's a safeguard. And also because it's so mainstream, nobody knows, what this brewery is, that brewery is, but at least they know what that IPA, that wheat, versus what is a Monkish, what is a Tripel, what's a quad.
Do you have a fundamental issue with skewing how you name your beers to what people are asking for, or it sounds like you just kind of want that you're maintaining that line because you want to be as traditional as you can be.
Because the beer could taste the same and be the same beer you want to make, but you are drawing a line at then not marketing it differently too.
I think in some sense educational, some sense tradition, some sense screw everybody.
Yeah.
It's a big thumb your nose. Yeah.
You know,
which is great, and I think the industry kind of needs that a little bit.
Well, I think the drinking public
resistance against the people who are buying it.
But also for me, I just have a hard time of naming, like legally TTB, you have to say it's an ale, a lager, or whatever. Sometimes I just want to leave it as an ale. I wish I could just say beer and just leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I just think farmhouse, that's what we kind of lean towards, but I don't live in a farm.
Right.
Torrance?
Yeah, you live the opposite of a... yeah.
You know, or a Saison. It's troublesome to call a beer a Saison because what is a Saison? A lot of people use Saison DuPont still as a classical bar. So if anything tastes different from a Saison DuPont, a Saison DuPont, then it becomes very troublesome. This is not a Saison.
Yeah. I understand.
I saw somebody at the Firestone Walker Fest walk up to a brewery that had a wheat Doppelbock on and say, I've heard that the banana beer here is very good.
Oh. Yeah.
And it did not taste very strongly of banana, but like that's kind of one of the characteristics that people associate with Belgian beers, so maybe you should just call it banana beer.
Banana beer. That would help, too.
10 minutes ago, the conversation went something like this. Oh, my God, the banana beer, you got to try it.
Yeah.
And that's a festival full of people who are... theoretically a step above the average drinking public.
Sure. Yeah,
well,
I was so surprised.
The drinking public is really the issue here, is that over time they're going to get better at knowing their beers. They're going to realize that Saison is a really good beverage, and I should drink more Saisons, and they will. Well, I think you're just ahead of your time in a way.
Well, they'll get better at it because of breweries like Monkish.
You'll get some good Saisons.
Yeah. So let me float this by you then. How about you just brew a Saison or anything that you like doing, and just call it an IPA, and you'll knock out two birds with one stone. One, you'll get some extra revenue, and two, now that person isn't just going to default order an IPA at their next bar because now they don't know what they're getting, which is the only reason they ordered it in the first place.
Throw a total wrench.
I'm just saying.
Henry's thinking
you can use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's this beer in our glass now? The second bottle that we have.
Well, I don't know if you heard that loud bang about 5 minutes ago, but that was the cork flying out of the bottle and hitting the track lighting here in the studio.
And the beer flying out as well.
Yeah, big. It's
no
a
name.
Brett something, right?
Yeah,
it's no label on it.
It was Crux, the previous beer, bottle conditioning with Brett Brooks.
With Brett Brooks.
Yeah.
I like this beer a lot. Dry. A great example of Brett, tasting Brett. Like you could give this to somebody to help them learn about what this thing Brett is everybody's talking about.
Yeah, and wear a helmet.
Really? You really get Brett from this?
Oh, my God.
No, really?
Brett Explosion.
Yeah.
Brett Explosion?
To me, it almost covers up the elderberry. Or elderflower.
See,
no, that's the first
so much
one.
It became a berry.
But he said it's the same as the first one.
Oh, it's the same beer?
I get
Really? I don't get that much Brett.
Same
beer.
Same beer finished with Brett.
Brooks.
I get
bottle condition.
I get like toasted or maybe almost fresh coconut shavings and Brett.
Yeah, this is one of the issues. Brian and I, we talk about, so we go drink beers and sample things, and every time there's a Brett beer on, we're trying to assess the quality of Brett or the quantity of Brett, if you can quantify it. And so some of our Brett Saisons are very Brett forward.
Okay.
And then so we taste other Brett beers, we don't really get Brett. So
Okay.
we're wondering, do we put too much Brett in our beers, or I don't know. We're just kind of...
well, first of all, I think you can almost never put too much Brett in your beers. It was an opinion that I have. But yeah, I can see that happening. If you guys, your palates are skewed, right? You're tasting these things with mega Brett to you, and this might be on your low scale, but to me, it's just a great example of it.
Yeah, I don't know, I've been going around to different breweries, and they, I think Brett's becoming more popular.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see, such and such beer with Brett, and it is when I'm used to Selah,
yeah,
we'll be drinking. It's just the Brett is so big.
Okay.
And so when I see with Brett, I have an expectation now.
Well, that should be our next beer. Then we're going to take a break, and maybe we should do some Selah so we can, because I'd love to be able to taste that difference. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. By the way, 888-401-BEER if you want to ask questions yourself, or hit the chat room with Bevo. She's in there taking your questions. We've got Monkish in the studio. We're going to learn a lot more about their beer and how it's made when we come back. So hang in there. It's The Session, live from the Hop Grenade.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Limited time only. Enter promo code BNARMY during January and February for 10% off any Monster Mill. Don't settle for the second best grain mill. You want a Monster Mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Monster Mills are tough, come in 2 and 3 roller designs, and are made right here in the USA from superior materials for longer lasting performance. Pick the mill that's right for you at monsterbrewinghardware.com and take Bevo's advice.
Trust me, it's always better to have a bigger tool than you think you need.
Monster Mills have the best warranty in the business. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit monsterbrewinghardware.com now and check out all the mills and mill accessories. Remember, during January and February, for 10% off any mill, enter promo code BNARMY.
Hey, Wooly, I'm beat. Can we find a nice tree to just hang out in for a while?
You're beat. I've been swinging through this forest for 50 years, ever since we first escaped from the circus. I know, but there's got to be more to life than exploring this creek and trying to populate the valley by copulating with loose, hairy girls. Marquis, stop. Look!
What is that?
It looks like a man-made treehouse.
With fresh food.
And craft beer.
Welcome to the Creek Monkey Tap House, boys. Grab a seat. Creek Monkeys drink free.
Awesome!
The Creek Monkey Tap House in Martinez, California takes their mission of fresh food and beer seriously. They only serve locally raised beef and chicken, as well as local sustainable produce. It's better for you and the planet, and it just tastes better. The beer and wine at Creek Monkey Tap House are chosen with the same care for the highest quality and rotate frequently to make each visit an adventure. Swing on into the Creek Monkey Tap House and enjoy a new legend of amazing food, beer, and wine. The Creek Monkey Tap House, online at creekmonkey.com.
For nearly 40 years, one organization has had your back. The American Homebrewers Association. Are you a member? Why not? Join the more than 40,000 brewers who enjoy all the American Homebrewers Association has to offer. Like Zymergy Magazine, in print and online, plus the Zymergy app. Zymergy is the leading publication for amateur brewers around the world. Supporters also get member deals at their local breweries, bars, and homebrew shops. These alone quickly pay for your membership. You'll also get great member-only resources at homebrewersassociation.org and access to AHA events like the National Homebrewers Conference and the National Homebrew Competition. The American Homebrewers Association promotes the hobby of homebrewing, protects the interests of homebrewers, and brings beer lovers together. Become a member today. It costs less than a batch of beer and gives back so much more. Visit homebrewersassociation.org.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Brewcasters are back.
It ain't 401 beer.
Whatever.
Yes, welcome back to the program. Thanks for sticking with us. You're listening live. We had a bit of a long break there. We had internet breakage. Henry's jinx, apparently, because half of the hop grenade exploded
Yes.
at the break.
This is the first time the menu has failed.
That's awesome.
Our menu.
It's awesome.
Beer
Yeah.
is
Too good. Real great.
See, I already know this about you, Henry. You sort of like chaos, and you
No,
brought
I
it,
don't like
and you
chaos.
brought
I
it with you.
I don't like to leave the brewery because every time I leave the brewery, something happens.
Yeah,
something breaks
at the brewery. Yeah, of course.
So, I think once I went down to San Diego, there was an earthquake. All the gas went out.
So even acts of God happen when you leave the brewery.
Well, I find it weird. We bottle condition all of our beers. We've only had one bottle that ever explode.
Oh yeah,
during bottle conditioning.
Okay.
And I happened to be walking by the pallet, and I heard it pop. And I'm like, this is a very familiar noise. And I looked over, and then you see the case, it just starts turning brown. It was a Belgian Strong Dark, and it starts dripping down. It's the only bottle we ever had popped.
Wow.
And I just walked by, and I actually heard
You
it.
walked by it at that moment?
Yeah, and then I had
It's like a burning bush
two
thing.
barrel bungs that have
Yes.
popped off. One from one of our fooders. I was there, and I heard it, and I popped it. It's the only
Wow.
time.
How long had it been in the bottle?
Not long at all. I think it was just a weak glass and just broke.
You're lucky it was on the outside of the pallet versus if it was buried in the middle at the bottom. You're just going to take the whole pallet. Right, yeah.
So what do you do then with the rest of that? Are you worried now about the rest of the batch, the whole pallet of beer, or do you know?
No, you just take it out, clean it. I mean,
just the one.
Yeah.
You don't worry now that hey, we're going to have 50 bottles.
No, I mean after that, we held it longer for a few more weeks just to make sure,
There you go.
there was no increase in CO2.
Got
so
it.
I blame it on weak glass.
Yeah. Well, Henry, you'll be happy to know that there is some silver lining to us not having a menu. No one was able to order any pale ales or IPAs.
For the whole break.
Nope.
That's right. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, real quick before we carry on, we've got Monkish in the studio, and we're so happy to have him here. And as we're learning about great beer and how to do it, I wanted to remind you, we talked to Gordon Strong just a couple weeks ago, and he's got his new book coming out. I think you can now get it. Modern Homebrew Recipes, Exploring Styles and Contemporary Techniques. You can go over to brewerspublications.com and check it out, of course. But Gordon Strong, he's the only guy to have won the Ninkasi 3 times in a row. He's the highest-ranking beer judge certification program judge, and he really knows what he's doing, and he wrote you a homebrew recipes guide.
Me?
And yes, you.
Shit.
He did it for you.
That's amazing.
You should start homebrewing.
He's going to sign it.
He's going to sign it for you. He's going to be at the National Homebrewers Conference signing them probably.
Oh, man.
And,
I feel very blessed.
He's also given sensory profiles for each beer so that you can, not just make the beer from his recipe, but then go back and read the tasting notes and see if you got it close to what he was going for. So go check it out over at brewerspublications.com. And Gordon's been super nice to us over the years, so I'm really happy to see him writing a book like this for us. We haven't had a great recipe book like this since Brewing Classic Styles. So it's nice to see another one of our friends doing that. All right.
Take your glasses off now that you're not reading.
Lay your hair out.
The old man.
Right.
Stop being professional.
Change your Depend.
Yeah, my one Depend.
Yeah. Well, I assume you only wear one at a time. Would you say I'm wearing Depends right now?
Yes. So I guess you do. I don't know.
It depends.
It does depend. Yeah. All right. So what Monkish beer do we have in our glass now? Let's start there. I believe we have the Sunset.
Sunset
It's a hipster beer.
We made this beer with a local bottle shop called Sunset Beer Company. They're located in Echo Park, one of those gentrified areas in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hipsters. So we wanted to make a beer hipster-friendly.
Yeah.
So it had to be low ABV and hoppy.
And wheat.
There should be like a whole page of what is hipster friendly, right? Not just in beer. I mean, other things too. Things you're allowed to say, things you're allowed to listen to. And so this is the beer that's hipster friendly.
Well, you like to hate on L.A. L.A. is very demographically kind of split, even culture-wise, but also beer drinking-wise. And on the east side, Silver Lake, Echo Park, where like Eagle Rock Brewery is, they like lower ABV beers.
Okay, interesting.
Got to be skinny jeans friendly.
Right.
So,
You got to fit in those 501s.
Yeah.
But then, like where we're located, it's the South Bay. We're by the beach. We have a lot of bros, so high ABV and hoppy beers.
Get drunk quick.
Yeah,
Flat bill hat.
Pop collar bill.
Sure.
Board shorts.
So
tank
we
top.
always know which beer will do well in certain demographic. Anyways, this is in Echo Park. They have a little lake, man-made lake called Echo Park. In Echo Park, I don't know what's called Echo Park Lake. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
it has
Good question.
It has a bunch of lotus plants in it. So for this beer, we put lotus seed, orange zest, to be a cool brewer, you should zest every so often. So we try to zest periodically.
Yes, that's a good.
Also, this is really
yeah.
a cool
so it has
beer.
a bunch of like orange zest, and then we dry hop with Citra, Galaxy, and Mosaic, and then we bottle condition this with Brett Trois Dre.
So this was another
only bottle conditioned with Brett. Yeah.
This was another exploding corker, and so does that go away over time, or will it get worse over time? Stay the same? Will it always be an exploding cork?
I don't think CO2. If CO2 level goes lower, then you have a problem with the container holding CO2. It'll always continue to build.
Okay. We have a caller as well. I'm really enjoying this beer.
Oh no.
And we have a caller who, if they're still, we made the poor person wait through that whole long break.
Yeah, it hangs up on people too after a certain amount of time.
Nope, I checked. He's still there.
That's good. You just hit that end call button.
Yeah. Tim from Orange County's on the line. He's got a question for the boys from Monkish. Tim, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on?
Just drinking some excellent beer.
Yeah, Tim.
What do you got for the dudes?
Yeah, well, I'm interested because Monkish seems like a brewery being like, heavy on the Belgian emphasis in an IPA pale ale culture to be breaking new ground. I mean, they have a beer called The Feminist, and at the same time, they're kind of feminism is still kind of like a hot topic when it comes to theology or politics, and so I'm wondering, do you feel as though you are innovators or pioneers when it comes to allowing women to kind of integrate themselves into the craft beer culture, and or did Jesus really evolve from his encounter with Canaanite women at the well?
I didn't understand the last part.
Say that again,
Tim. Just that last part.
Something about quinoa.
Did Jesus evolve in consciousness from his encounter with the Canaanite women at the well?
Oh.
Something about Keenan Ivory Wayne.
No, he's talking about Jesus' conscious evolve with the woman at the well in Canaan. It's the whole Gospel of John.
How much did you guys pay Tim to call into this program tonight?
It's because you mentioned homebrew Christianity. So this is what happened.
Got it. Nice. Would you like to answer either or both questions?
No.
Okay.
End call. Hit the button. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, drop. Moving along.
So I think part of it, I've had people come from, so I used to work at the brewery, and I've had people come visit Monkish, and they describe Monkish as very feminine.
Okay.
Because of beer names or the color of beer. Because we have two pink beers, and other things are very
rose beers, rose colored.
Do you feel that this was intentional, or just sort of happened that way?
Probably our best-selling beer is Feminist. Belgian triple with hibiscus, lots of hibiscus. ABV is like 9.4. It's a little, I don't know. It's a thematic beer. If I was to brew the beer again, I wouldn't make it so big. I would probably go in the higher rate because the higher ABV kind of gives it more. And all that hibiscus, such a perceived sweetness. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty dry beer, but it's a lot of perceived sweetness for me.
Okay.
I've always taught from a feminist perspective. In Christianity, because it's written by males for males, and always in a very patriarchal society. Mm-hmm. Probably since the feminist movement, there's always been new studies, more critical studies on looking at things differently through what's called like a hermeneutic of suspicion, where you take everything suspiciously and looking at power plays. So feminism is a form of that. So what you're doing is you're looking at sacred texts and trying to figure out what are women's role in this.
Okay.
Are they invisible behind the text? Why is it only written by males? And just trying to figure that stuff out. Anyways.
This was in your studies. This was something that always fascinated you.
And I always taught from that perspective.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to, I was watching, you ever see that movie, The Stoning of Sonia Saraya or something like that?
No.
All right.
Tasty probably did.
There's a bunch of...
He was
Henry,
probably
first
there.
of all, just know your audience. It's a bunch of idiots in this room.
And this is Concord.
Yes. Yeah. So, no, but we're open to new ideas. So if you would like to just give us the quick synopsis of the film. But no, we have not seen it.
No, so it's basically kind of modern-day context where it was a very patriarchal society. The main patriarch was having an affair but blamed his wife for having an affair. I think that's how it went.
For him having the affair.
No. That she was having an affair.
Okay.
And so because of that, based on very traditional, cultural laws for that village, they had to stone her. So he got her stoned.
Okay.
And then her sister told the story because it's actually a true story. Some reporter came by, broke his car, broke down in his car, and then she leaked the story to him, and he took off with the story, and this movie was made.
Oh, I see.
About the stoning of this lady a few years ago. So watching that movie kind of just, made me think about feminism, and so I decided to make a beer called Feminist, an ode to feminism. So it's just like little pink tinge. So I use hibiscus to kind of get that color, little feminine quality, not necessarily a girly beer, but then also it was the highest ABV intentionally for the first year. I didn't brew anything higher than 9.4. So that's what we did.
Was it bitter?
No.
Not bitter.
No.
So Doc doesn't feel it's feminist. Clearly, by the premise of Doc's question is that
so that was kind of more thematic. I wouldn't say there's. One of the issues I did have is I didn't like how craft beer, when I was trying to get into it, there was such a big male testosterone-driven thing. It was like all this alpha male, and I think a lot of this IPA, I just like it so bitter or whatever, and now I like it so sour. It has to come with like this alpha male testosterone. Was like, how many pounds can you bench press? I can bench press this. This is how many IBUs I want.
It's the beer equivalent.
Yeah. So, beer labels looking like Ed Hardy clothing designs, and
yes.
So we kind of wanted to do something very minimal that was very inclusive to everybody.
Yeah.
Not necessarily women in particular, but just kind of, I guess someone said earlier, kind of level the playing ground.
But it's frustrating because when I'm at festivals, because I do a lot of external functions, but even at the tasting room, when we
because I'm not allowed to be around people.
He's not allowed.
Henry, get back in the cellar, Henry.
It's part of my job. Yeah. But when people come and they see a beer called Feminist, the stuff that comes out of guys' mouths is just sometimes shocking.
Is it?
It's shocking. So you're just like, I just can't believe you just said that.
What's an example?
How much bitterness is it?
Shots fired.
That's the example.
No, it's just they'll say like, oh, I don't want some girly beer, or
really,
or they're like, oh, I like why is it called Feminist? And I don't want to get in the story, but I say I try to avoid sarcasm because I know it's bad. Like we joke, this is devil's language, but I say like, I don't know, we just support fair wages. And I look at them and they just kind of go,
yeah.
They kind of like, oh,
okay.
Hey, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, hey, you should think before you speak.
Yeah,
I should take that advice personally, but
well, and you get I think a lot of people think it's a joke, and sometimes maybe it is a joke.
Yeah,
saying something like "I don't want a girly beer." That's not even a joke. That's just a douchey thing.
You're really hearing that often?
Often, yes.
Yeah, so like
especially as the festival goes on, like when it's like 5 hour
so on the menu, they're like
that's at the end.
For months early on, people were like, "Can I have the beer?"
They wouldn't even say the word?
No,
Yeah,
say the hibiscus beer.
It's not I haven't heard that in a while. But
maybe they didn't know how to pronounce it. It's a long word.
Can I have the feminist?
It is a long word.
It's a very long word.
Feminina.
Yeah.
Not many people know Latin, so it's real tough.
Can't blame them.
Feminist is an old Latin word.
Yeah.
But that's the only beer that you guys have done that is specifically targeted towards maybe trying to open this.
It's not targeted actually for women. People ask.
Okay.
So someone mentioned the beer and referred to it as she. I refer to it as a he.
Okay.
It's a male feminist.
Sure. All right. That makes sense.
Feminism have to equate towards women. It's more
the idea
I made the beer as a respect and an ode to
feminism.
Yeah. It's an ideology and it has nothing to do with your gender.
And then also,
think like feminism.
Brewery, it is beer on tap number one. It's always been number one. It'll always be number one.
Mm-hmm.
There's something funny about the sexism inherent in the word feminism. I don't know. I just think it's like it has to be made for a female.
It has to be made for a female, by a female,
right,
for a female.
But saying that is in and of itself not really understanding what the word means.
Yeah, but also we, thinking about power plays, we do have a little philosophical. We do have the luxury as males talking and doing this. rather than women doing it, because oftentimes women don't have the voice to speak about it.
Okay.
And I love that.
So I have to be conscious that I can't use my power as a male to talk about feminism and get any kind of reward for that.
Have you gotten any positive feedback, aside from maybe the taste of the beer? I'm sure it's a wonderful beer.
You're talking groupies.
You've probably heard that, but have you gotten positive feedback from males or females about...
Yeah, overall, it is our best-selling beer.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fantastic then. Okay. That must feel good, too.
No, I don't like making that beer. It's a tough beer to make.
It is. It's a pain in the ass.
So much hibiscus, it drops the pH, and it kind of slows down fermentation.
Okay.
Every time I brew it, I get nervous.
I don't think Henry likes making beer. He likes the in
you know,
theory
I
you
go
like
on
it.
Wikipedia, I read about brewing. It just sounds so fascinating.
Sounds great.
You know, like going to a brewery, I'm like, no.
Here's the thing with
Bullshit. I want to be around people now.
With Henry, we had some people come in to like some distributors talk about and wanted to try Monkish, and they're just like, Henry, you're so weird. They're like, I love this beer. They're like, yeah, it's on my chopping block. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this beer's so great too. He's like, yeah, it was too popular, so I didn't make it for a year. And they're looking at him just like,
No,
so,
because it's all about, equal opportunity, making sure
it's really
the
funny
other beers
look
get
at
a
people's
chance to
faces.
speak
Like,
and have their voice.
Like,
yeah.
what?
Equal opportunity for the other beers.
It was
The unmade
actually-
beers.
It was actually because the beer that sold so fast, it was a hoppy beer. Like our first real hoppy beer.
Yeah.
It sold like crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not brewing this.
That
again
just
for
made
a
you
while.
upset.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Your wife was like, we have 2 loans, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I had 3 kids.
That's the slippery slope.
I have a very important question. Do you like your kids, Henry?
I do love my kids.
Oh, okay, there you go. We found something he likes.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
Do you talk to him in person?
In person, on occasion.
Keep it to a minimum.
Now, let me,
If you
here's
consider
something.
FaceTime in person.
Monkish seems to be doing okay, and people love your beer. We love your beer, I know that, and I hear other people who love your beer. The reviews are very good. The tasting room was completely full when I was there, which was nice to see. But in my notes, I have that if you were asked, would you do it all again? You said no. Maybe I wouldn't even do this again.
Yeah, I think I've always said that, and I still believe that I would not do this again.
You would not start a brewery again?
No.
Why is that?
I think when people walk into a brewery, they see all the stainless steel, they see the novelty of making alcohol. You kind of forget about the realities behind the person, the brewery. And I think for our business model, it's just always been everybody that opens a brewery has a different set of circumstances. And I think a lot of breweries, or a number of the breweries that go around saying, this is, I'd rather do this than anything else. At least I'm not sitting behind a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
They have a pretty good, maybe financial backing.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe they're making a lot of pale ales, IPAs, or whatever it is. There has been a business model that works for them. For us, it's been very challenging. And then in doing so, opening this brewery, along the way, there's been many difficult decisions that you have to make. And some simple ones that quickly become difficult ones, like
compromising what you might have,
or just like being a married couple making decisions, and then you haven't really seen each other, and you're trying to figure out what's the next beer name.
Yeah,
and then you start fighting over a beer name, and then you're like, it just kind of gets ugly.
Yeah.
But so then along the way, and then you don't see your kids, you don't see all these different things, and it takes a lot out of you as a human being. I was a lot more optimistic probably before I opened a brewery. So I think there's been a lot of sacrifices getting to this point.
You're probably spending tons of hours at the brewery to open up.
Yeah.
What was the average work week in the first, whatever?
First year was about 120 hours. I think I was calculating.
A week.
Wow. Well, that's like any startup.
Yeah.
You own your own business. That's all going to happen, and it's not just the brewery business. But it's anything you're doing.
But I think then, as a human being, what do you value in life? If it's to be a successful business owner, be a successful brewer, what were the sacrifices you made along the way? And then you have to now consciously decide whether that was worth it or not.
Yeah.
What did you lose? How much of a human being did you did you lose? How much relationships were scarred or were neglected because of it? People always say, yeah, but if you look 20 years from now and then you're, making a few $1 million, how would you feel then? But then,
the question is still the same. How much did you lose to get there?
Yeah. So there are many days that I think about a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Just because I could check out and go home.
Yeah.
I mean, just like today going up here for this, I was really dreading it because it's Monday. It's the end of the month, beginning of the month.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paperwork to do. So I'm driving and trying to do paperwork and, scheduling and all these different things just for our business model.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's a super honest answer.
But I know that there are many breweries that have better business model or more, I guess, viable ones than we did, and they definitely are enjoying it. So I don't take anything away from them, but I think for me it's just the more I think about it, the more I value my time with my kids, my wife, and also just simple pleasures of life. Like I don't want to go to GABF. I don't want to go to Denver for GABF. I don't want to go to Portland for CBC. I'm actually trying to plan a trip to go up to Portland after CBC so I could just enjoy time.
Okay, yeah. So I started this company to not have a 9-to-5. And I'm going to tell you right now that there are tons of days of the month that I wish I just had a 9-to-5.
And then there's tons of people listening to this right now at their 9-to-5 thinking how badly they want to not have that.
So there was a home brewer that came in and he was like asking me how I did it. He wanted to know, how did I have 3 kids and still balance starting a brewery? I'm like, there is no balance. You have to choose what you're gonna. There's only a certain amount of time in your day to do your 40 tasks that you really only have time to do 5 of it. And the next day, those 35 tasks are going to be added onto it. And I was like, well, what's your context? He was like, well, I have this job, like some kind of engineering job. I work about 2-3 days a week, and I'm just really bored of it. And all I think about is brewing beer. I'm like, then homebrew. Enjoy it.
Yeah. And then you can find some balance.
Yeah.
Because you can have your job and you can do some brewing.
Well,
the same.
You could have the job 9 to 5 brewing someplace else for somebody else, and all you got to do is make their 6 beers, right? So you'd be bored as hell. You would have no creativity. Sure. You would have no say-so in what you're doing, but you're doing the 9 to 5 thing. You're still brewing beer. You still hate it.
Yeah, but that's why you have hobbies.
Yeah.
And there's other things to do because my creative options now are so weighted with responsibility, anxiety. Because what if I feel like doing this. Once I came into the brew house, like I don't want to brew this beer because we don't have any investors, so I can do whatever I want. I remember going in, it's like I'm going to play a game with the malts. I'm going to do 40% this, 20% this, 10% this. I think I was 40, 30, 20, 10%. And I just randomly chose malt and just did that. But was that a very, that choice wasn't made without the realities of a lot of weight of responsibility and anxiety into it. From brewing the batch, hitting the numbers for the batch, transferring, making sure the tank was purged correctly, there's no dissolved oxygen, whatever, and then carbonating it to the right level, kegging it correctly, make sure they're all filled, and then all the way up until pouring the glass of beer and watching that person drink. That's been like a 3-week process of anxiety for that just one beer.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is no, I would say, quality of life for me in that experience.
During that time.
Thought about picking up Valium?
Just feeling the pressure of that, and then is it a success after that? Now success because you want people to enjoy it. You spent all that time doing it, but then also how expensive it was just to spend that 3 weeks on it, the ingredients, your time, everything else, and your family to think about after that. I don't know. Somehow, I think this is a refreshing discussion for me because I can relate to it. I think there is a lot of pressure in it.
Yeah,
there are times when I sit down and I do quite enjoy the process, and I'm able to sit back and think about how many people listen to the show, people who get to listen to your story because we're doing it. But I'm going to be honest with you, about 90% of the time feels the opposite. 90% of the time is worrying that we're doing it right, or am I going to fail and screw it up? And then 10% I get to go, I think this is a good thing. I think we got it right. It's not balanced at all. And it sounds like balance is incredibly important to you and your family, so I can see how it maybe weighs on you a little more even.
Yeah, I think I just want a genuine experience out of life.
Yeah.
Balanced or not. I think if I was an heir, so my parents had a business before growing up, and just watching them have that business, I told myself I would never want to experience that. So I decided I don't really care about money. That's kind of why I decided to go into path of maybe being a pastor or
be an academic or
and then here I am, and then having 3 kids, kind of subjecting them to this lifestyle. So, yeah.
Do you like being an entrepreneur at all? That I think it sounds like maybe you like the brewing process. You don't even like being.
I like more the artistry side than I do.
Yeah.
On the business side.
Go ahead.
How will you know when you are successful to yourself? You know, in the brewing community, your beers are greatly appreciated, and people look out for them, and we drink them and we enjoy them. But it doesn't seem like you hold that same weight, put that same value on what is a successful business.
I don't know. I haven't really gotten to the place. I always tell people that there's so much weight and so much responsibility and not enough time in the day that I've never really had a chance in 3-4 years to ever sit down and, like Justin was saying, to reflect for a moment whether you're enjoying this or not.
Yeah.
I haven't had really that chance yet.
Yeah. It's a hard part.
Yeah.
Even with our 10th anniversary party, or 10 and 20, I've for some reason, I've never really done this before, but I'm somehow now quite nostalgic about 10 years. It's starting to mean a lot to me. But I realized that if I just had that anniversary party in San Diego, where it's about a production and getting everybody there and all the beer there, 10 years, that moment would go right by me without ever having stopped to think about it. And so, not that that's any less of a party that we should be throwing, but we're throwing friends and family party here on this Friday, just for people so where I don't have to entertain anybody. I don't have to think about anything. I'm just going to drink beer with these people and try to think about 10 years. Because for some reason, I've just decided if this moment goes by and I don't force myself to make a moment out of it, I will regret that.
Oh, that sounds real boring. I guess there's something I got to go do this Friday. Actually,
yeah, you already RSVP'd, Beardy.
But for us as a brewery, like when we opened, there was no grand opening. We opened because I had some beer to sell, and I was like, I'll sell beer for whoever comes through the door.
Yeah.
First year anniversary, I didn't want to throw a party. I just basically discounted the beers, just say thank you to people. You know, here's a little break from the normal prices.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting us for this past year. And, you know, so those kind of things you're trying to figure out along the way is how do you show appreciation because of where you're at now.
Yeah.
And so that does fuel me to continue to brew beer and trying to figure out what is the next thing I want to do.
Sure. All right. Well, I hope no one minds listening to this conversation because this stuff is refreshing and fascinating to me.
Actually, quite the opposite. In the chat room, they're actually talking about the guest when normally they're making boob and dick jokes. But people are on, like Nico just came in, and he's like, it's really refreshing to hear people speak these words because he's going through opening a brewery and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people going, wow, this is actually really refreshing conversation.
Good.
And then boobs and dicks.
And then there's
boobs and dicks because I brought it up. So.
Are you, when you, now at this point, when you formulate a beer or have an idea, are you brewing the beer for you or are you brewing it for the people? Because you're saying you're trying to think of ideas of how to show your appreciation.
It's tough because like this past year I realized Monkish, like there's this old pastor, I think his name was Charles Jefferson, not the famous Charles Jefferson, but he said that as a pastor in New York City, he felt that the church was a living organism. So he said that, or he understood that as a living organism, you cannot tell it what it needs to survive. It starts telling you what it needs, and it's your job to feed it. So I think Monkish, as long as there's more people involved, it starts becoming something a little bit more than simply Henry and Adriana, my wife. So I have to let certain things go. That's why, like Justin was asking, do you do GABF and stuff like that? Those are things that I have to be willing to concede to, anniversary things, parties, and whatever. So it has to be more than me.
Yeah.
But beer construction-wise, for the most part, it is something that I'm personally after. And I know that my taste and palate in beer sometimes is a little different from other people.
Before we go to the phones, because I've got another caller, I want to know about the beer that's in our glass now, too. I want to make sure we talk about this stuff, too, because I'm enjoying all of it. Say that for me. How's that?
It's a chili beer.
So I don't screw it up.
Rara Avis.
Oh, all right. I might not have screwed that up. Monkish Rara Avis.
Oh, let's not.
It's Latin for rare bird. So we made this beer for the Rare Beer Club, Michael Jackson's club that they have like a beer of the month kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so the one segment is the Rare Beer Club. So we were approached to make a beer. We made this beer exclusively for them. It's a blended saison, so spelt saison and a rye saison. We blended it together, and we did add a little bit of lactose. This is one of the tricky part. We don't put in the label that we put lacto. One reason is when people hear that there's lactose, like, well, I don't get any sourness. What I want from the lacto is just a little acid brightness.
A little bit sharp acid comes out of it.
So that's it. But it's this issue that I'm in of labels and people's perception of beers that I'm really struggling with and having a hard time dealing with it.
Yeah.
Because it really is just trying to make beers that I really love the profiles of beers. So that's kind of what we go for.
Your beer is not having a hard time dealing with it. I'm going to tell you that. Because that when you describe it to me that way, that's I think, a great example of using lacto in a different way like that. Chad taught me that years ago, who probably learned it from Tasty or somebody else. He'd made some home brew and just put a little, just to try to get a little lacto sharpness in it. We ended up talking about it on the show, and it changed my opinion about what the lacto could be in a beer as well.
You can do it with phosphoric acid. It's just like a flavor enhancer kind of thing.
Yeah. Just something to just make it brighter, like you said, just something else.
pH.
I use phosphatic acid.
Phosphatic?
Yeah.
Same.
It's just one better than phosphoric.
Yes.
This one goes to 11.
All right. On the phone, we've got a question about one of your beers. I think we've got Charlie from Oklahoma. Charlie, what's happening?
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
We're doing well.
Having me on.
No, thanks for calling in. What do you got for the Monkish boys?
Hey, Brian, Chuck Fuller sends me beers out here to Oklahoma all the time.
Awesome.
And
prove it.
Okay, I'm drinking a Crush right now.
There we
Great.
go.
Tell me a little bit about your Saint series and your single hop Belgian Pels. And what hops did you learn about?
All right. Let me just point out so that everyone knows what's happening here.
Also, not what he said on the phone.
People calling in.
Screen them. Make sure they're not with the homebrewed Christianity.
People are calling into our call screener and announcing one question and writing this into me and then delivering a separate question. His question originally was, how did you come up with the name... and I'm going to say it wrong, or Bevo spelt it wrong because I never know.
Magnificent.
Magnificent.
Oh, yeah.
And does it attribute to the Virgin Mary? Was the question that he gave our call screener.
Yes and yes.
Yes?
Pretty sure I typed that out verbatim.
Yeah.
I'm a little retarded sometimes, I'm pretty sure I got that one.
We're pretty transparent here at the BN, so I just want everybody to know you could just ask what you're going to ask, and we're fine with that, too. That would be cool.
Well, that's cool. I just changed my mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Charlie. No worries. No
All
worries.
good. It's still Bevo's fault.
Okay, so what you wanted to hear about the
Saint series.
The Saint series. Tell us a little bit.
The Saint series, the hot series.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Henry hated brewing them. That's number one.
Yeah, every one of
this
them.
Is Henry's giving in to the masses.
It does help pay the bills. So I love the Saint series.
What is the
that
Saint
beer
series?
sells like 2 seconds. It's amazing.
The info would be on the internet, but he hates the internet. So there's people there.
What is it? What's the Saint series?
It's we take a Belgian
pale ale.
Yeah, Belgian pale ale, and just take one hop all the way through.
Okay.
First wort hops, 15 minutes. Whirlpool, and then dry hop about 1.5 pounds.
Oh wow! First wort, and then nothing nothing until 15.
No bittering.
Yeah, the beer has a very low IBU, and it's a cool alternative to IPAs. I think that's why it sells well, because it's a gateway beer either into Belgian.
No IPAs were harmed in the making of this thing.
We didn't sprinkle too many IPAs. I think it's like one IPA maybe.
Sometimes people bring IPAs to share with us, and we have to sign up.
It's infection.
I start freaking out. I was like, get that out of here.
It's not even allowed in the brewery.
You're going to ruin it for us.
It's funny because clean breweries often will keep you out, right, with bugs on your shoulder and everything else, and you're like, no, keep your clean IPA out of here.
Yeah, we don't allow Julian.
Get your IBUs out of here.
Julian has too many IBUs.
Too many IPAs.
As a person.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Charlie, thank you for the call. I appreciate you calling in. Cheers. Say again? Which was the best?
St. Mosaic. I loved it.
That's what we have on tap here at the Hop Grenade right now, too, and it's very good, Charlie.
I think Mosaic's my favorite.
Cheers. That's yours as well?
Yeah, we have Citra, Galaxy we do. We've done a few others, but we tend to...
Mosaic's a great single hop to use.
It's just good.
I mean, even
Citra is
by
Citra.
definition.
It could be a little bit pissy.
Yeah. Do you guys have any faction beers?
Oh yeah,
I
enjoyed their view.
With their views are fantastic.
Yeah,
his pale ale series to me is an interesting one because of the way he likes to use different, sometimes single hops, and really I think gives you an example of what the main hop is every time. You get to learn a lot about those hops at that time. Well, listen, guys, I feel like we have to do 6 more shows.
Seriously.
People in chat are demanding another
we have 6
interview.
more shows to do.
Because I don't think we really talked about brewing or beer.
No, we did.
We talked about ideology.
We didn't do process, but we talked ideology, which I think is
perverts.
And I'm going to admit that's my fault because if there's something interesting to do, Henry, I just went with it. So I hope you don't mind that.
That's fine.
Which is why I say there's about 6 more shows in this because I know you guys make a lot of different beers. We could do a beer show next time, for example.
Talk about your brewery.
Any number of these things, but I don't know. I just became fascinated by your philosophy of brewing as well.
Are you guys hanging out here after the show? Because I'm not going straight home tonight. I'll have some beers with these.
You're going to hang out with these guys. All right. Well, and please don't go anywhere if you don't have to. I'm going to take a break. We're going to do a little beer news, which you're welcome to just sit in the studio with us. I think we've got more Monkish beer to try too as we go through. So don't leave if you don't have to. 888-401 beer. That's our phone number. We're going to take a quick break. It might actually be a quick break this time. And then when we come back, more from Monkish. We got a little bit of beer news to do, and I don't know. We'll probably make fun of Kim Shimke while we're at it. Yeah. All right. Hang in there. It's the session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
If you don't know Yeastman, you're missing out. White Labs Yeast Manager, Yeastman, is available free to any brewer. Yeastman is your direct link to White Labs' yeast production facility. Yes, you can check yeast availability, and yes, you can place an order, but Yeastman is much more. View yeast quality control and analytical reports. See your big QC Day entries and reports. Get access to the entire White Labs catalog, specials on overruns of freshly made yeast, and customized options for your account. Yeastman is the only real-time online ordering in the business connected directly to factory production. Yeastman is always on and always live. It's the largest online marketplace for specialty brewers' yeast and related products. Visit yeastman.com today and tap directly into White Labs production facility. Gonna brew? Yeastman to the rescue.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Adventures in Homebrewing has the knowledge and expertise to craft their own gear and original recipes. Some of the things homebrewing.org creates and manufactures in-house are the Brutus brew stands and propane burners, the Serial Killer adjustable 2-roller grain mill with 7-pound hopper, custom stainless steel false bottoms designed to fit kegels, coolers, and mini-sized brew pots. The brewers at Adventures in Homebrewing have designed a huge selection of original recipes for extract and all-grain brewing. Adventures in Homebrewing original recipes are tried and tested, proven to be of the best quality. And right now, Adventures in Homebrewing is shipping 24 of their best recipes for free. Visit homebrewing.org for the most current selection. Once you try one of Adventures in Homebrewing recipes, you'll keep coming back for more. And now, it's even easier with free shipping on these kits. Brewing Network listeners receive 10% off their homebrewing.org orders when they use coupon code IPA at checkout. See terms and conditions for full details.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. We got a few more things to do. We're still hanging out with the guys from Monkish and drinking their beer. In fact, we've got Feminist in our glass now, which is what's the base beer on this? It's what'd you call
Belgian
it?
ale.
A Belgian blonde
triple.
Belgian triple.
Yes,
and then you add hibiscus is in it.
Lots of hibiscus
and women's rights.
Anything else?
Equal wages.
That's it. It's basically Tiro. And a little bit of aromatic. It used to have, just basically that's all it has. And then lots of dextrose.
I think it's
smart. My hibiscus is put in early on.
Early on when?
Early on, no, it's done at Whirlpool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We put in, for a 15-barrel batch, 17 pounds of it.
Okay.
Slot.
Goes in the Whirlpool. And then for most of your beers, but we can focus on this one too, then it goes to a stainless fermenter,
yes.
right? And then does almost everything go to a barrel or no?
No, I mean, barrels are new. We haven't actually released anything from barrels yet.
Oh, because there was a lot of barrels when I was there.
Yeah,
so I thought,
nothing was released.
I think when we started, we just have no money.
So this this one doesn't touch a barrel. This is stainless to, okay.
Actually, all the beers you had, all stainless.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. And most of your beer out in the market, is it in bottles like we've been drinking tonight, or do you do a lot of keg accounts as well?
Mostly kegs.
Mostly kegs.
Yeah,
and mostly in L.A. area.
In L.A., it's mostly a draft city.
Yeah.
And we do Southern California, Northern California a little bit. And now we're trying to get into Portland and New York.
And are you self-distributing when you're coming Northern California, or you have a distributor for
I got rid of it. I mean,
Yeah.
my 120 hours days.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Yeah, man.
Weeks, it just got really old. So I was like, next person that asked me, it's theirs. And that's what happened.
Oh, really?
I gave it up.
Someone came in with a deal and you said, take it. You're my distributor. I would love to have been that guy, that account. He's like, wait, really? Because I thought this was going to be... And Henry's like, no, fuck it, right now. Where's the paper? I'm signing it.
Hopefully that was his first, his first time being a distributor, first time trying to get an account. That's what I wish for that person.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna knock him down. I'm gonna do great.
And then 10 years from now, he'd be like, I signed Monkish. That was my claim to fame.
Yeah.
That was it. That's I did really great in the beginning.
You did great, kid. Now knock him down again.
Yeah.
Blue chip.
I like this beer. Feminist is a very nice beer. I can see why it's your most popular. I'm enjoying that. All right, real quick, before we move on, we got some beer news to do as we're talking to the Monkish guys. Hey, go to beersmith.com right now if you're a home brewer and download your free 21-day trial of their home brewing software. It works on PC and Mac, and it's easy to use. You don't have to take our word for it, although we all do love it here, and it's very robust. I think we'll see Brad Smith from Beersmith at our 10th anniversary party. You can meet him yourself there or at the National Homebrewers Conference, and he's a very nice man who's passionate about what he does and the product that he's made. So, introduce yourself to him if you're going to NHC. The rest of you, just go to beersmith.com right now and get your free trial of the brewing software. It's really cool. It's fun. You don't even have to be brewing to use it. You just have some fun making recipes and entering your whole brew system into the thing. You get to geek out like it's a video game.
Virtual beer.
Before you ever even brew.
Yeah, which is pretty nice.
Which is pretty nice. So
don't copy me.
Which is nice, JP.
That sounds pretty nice, guys.
Thanks, Beardy.
Yeah.
You know what?
Fuck up, Beardy. I wonder how many times I yelled out. What was cool is that at Firestone Fest, I was not the only person yelling out, shut the fuck up, Beardy.
I think I heard it more from other people from you the whole weekend.
Did you learn a lesson from that experience?
Well, but then they asked me a question after telling me to shut the fuck up, so it was a really awkward conversation.
Just to yell at you again?
Yeah, probably.
Didn't we fire Beardy? We should have. All right, before we get to our beer news for the night, we've got George calling in from Torrance, which, of course, is where Monkish is located. George, what's happening?
Hello.
George, if the notes have been given accurately to Bevo this time, George has been drinking Monkish beer all night long.
Hello. I like Monkish beer.
This isn't George, by the way.
No.
Yeah,
you recognize all these voices?
Of course.
Mom, stop calling in every time I do a radio show.
And get off my voice synthesizer.
Yeah.
I'm George Hiram Fuller III.
So it's Trip.
But my parents called me Trip because my mother dated a guy named Trey who was an asshat in high school, so it really ruined that as an opportunity.
Makes sense. Hi, Trip. Thanks for calling in, man. How are you?
I feel excellent.
Good.
Because as a married person who rarely gets to drink live with said excellent podcast, the Sunday session now turned to Monday.
Yes.
As a minister who recently switched from preaching to teaching in a school, I now can actually attend live on Mondays. And now,
nice.
If two of my friends are on there, I'm allowed to drink while doing it. So I have tried to participate with the gusto of a Friend of the Year award.
Oh, I like it.
That's the new household rule. Like you can drink live
if you're
only
friends
with friends with two people, not just one.
I see.
One has to no
There's
go.
some strict rules.
And if there's three, still no, but only two.
So do we have?
I don't know.
Do we have to add a new category now to the BNA's Friend of the Year?
Friend of the Year.
Yeah, you're in contention, Trip.
Friend of the Year. I love friendship. Specifically with Henry and Brian,
Henry
and
hates it,
whatever the hell they do with White Labs 530 in the brewery.
All right. Thank you, Trip.
Love you. Is there a question there? Or?
No, he's just hanging out.
He just wanted to call and be drunk.
Okay.
But
I like
I thought
it.
it was. I thought it was George.
Trip's a nice man, and I would like to attend one of these live shows that he does from breweries because I hear that they get pretty interesting. Talking, think about it, a little bit of craft beer.
And it goes right over your head.
Maybe a lot. And then some intense theology, philosophy. I like it. Trip, thank you for calling in, brother. I appreciate it. All right, let's do some beer news here real quick. Beer news is brought to you today by the Wine and Hop Shop. What do we have today in the news?
Indeed. Well, this one's kind of scary for our Aussie contingent. Pay close attention. Australian brewers are being urged to be extra vigilant when choosing equipment suppliers by a number of small businesses who fear they have lost tens of thousands of dollars. Those involved have all experienced similar issues with the same supplier, who I can't name, unfortunately, for legal reasons. But most were unaware that there were others in the same boat until just last week when Glenn Harrison, who is the head brewer at Temple Brewing, that's just north of Melbourne, posted a warning on his Facebook page stating that they had put down a $15,000 deposit on a pilot brewery, which had never been received, and he had doubts that they would ever see the equipment or the money. Within hours, others in a similar situation made contact with Glenn. Some who fear they have lost amounts of the same magnitude, some others reporting losses far higher. People have been chasing delivery of their equipment for months without success. Some have given up on their equipment and are instead trying to obtain a return of their deposit. Series of calls and legal letters and attempts to contact the business owner have failed to yield any results. So here's an even worse example. Chris Miles runs a spot called North Hobart Pub. He was building where Chris trying to build a brewery as well, where he's going to brew small batch beers for that bar. So they're already renting a space. He's got a lease where the brewery was supposed to be installed. He's employed a bar manager, and he paid a $40,000 deposit for a system. But there's no brewery, and they've unable for months to get a response.
All right. So what's the deal?
The deal is just be aware. If you're trying to start a brewery,
there's no resolution to any of this stuff. It's just a guy.
Not as of yet. This is a week old.
What's the name of the company again that people are ordering from?
Cannot name it. Legal reasons could not be named. So no articles named the actual place. But
what is the source of this article that you're reading from? I'm curious.
It may not actually be real.
Right.
It's The Onion. It's something called The Onion.
Yes, Scott doesn't know. But I mean, is it a brewing website, or is this like the Washington Post? Like what?
It was a legitimate news website.
Yeah. But what I mean is it beer as a beer centric website that they're just posting to brewers, or just like a random news?
I'll go back after the news and look and check and make.
Well, we can't say who it is, but how would somebody find out?
We can say who it is. Why not? We're reporting.
We don't
news.
have any assets, right? So what are they going to do?
Well, we're reporting news.
No, I think what Scott's saying is whatever he read, it's not listed.
Right.
But I think I thought Tasty was saying we're not allowed to say his name. Yeah, we could totally say.
Scott says we're not allowed.
I'm not allowed because I don't even know it. Nobody reported it.
Right. Never mind. You guys are.
So here's what you do.
Contact Miles or whatever.
Exactly. Contact Glenn Harrison at Temple Brewing.
Yeah.
Send him an email and he'll tell you everything you need to know.
He'd be glad to help you if you're
and so folks paid the money.
Yes, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, they're not responding at all.
Correct.
They're not saying like, "Oh, we're going to make it next week and ship it in 2 weeks."
See, it is the new gold rush, this craft beer thing. Yeah, you start
shenanigans going
So
on.
I've got a tanker full of kegs if you'd like to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just sitting off the coast of Oakland right now.
The business's website has been taken down, and they apparently sent out an email stating that the business owners had, quote, made mistakes for which they were paying and that they were not trading any longer and don't have any intention either now to or in the future. So very cryptic.
Yeah.
Who knows? A little bit of silver lining, though. Since Temple Brewing wrote that Facebook post, all the people involved in this apparent scam have been in regular contact, and Temple has invited all of the affected brewers, which is now 8 total, to join them in a collaboration brew in Melbourne on May 2. And it will be open to the public, and the idea is to share the resulting beer among the brewers to sell in an attempt to recoup some of the money that everyone has lost so far.
Everybody's running scams now. We got scammed here at the Hop Grenade.
Maybe we need a scam.
People are running scams. It's a scammy world. Where did you get your brew system from? You were talking about budget, Henry. Did you scam it?
They stole it from a brewery in Melbourne.
Did you buy a new brew system, or did you piece it together?
No, it was new from China.
From China, yeah. The whole thing, fermenters, everything in a package?
Yeah.
A package deal. Way less expensive that way, right?
Way less expensive than used equipment.
And how do you...
The few used equipment that was available.
How do you feel about the quality? I have heard mixed reviews.
For us, it worked out. We don't have any horror stories.
Good.
There's little issues here and there, and we have some workarounds for it. But I know people on, proper built systems, you want to call it that, with issues too.
Yeah.
But for us,
I've heard
it's worked
both.
out.
Yeah.
For us, it's worked out.
I've heard that most of, like when it first started, you could get breweries from China, then it was a bit of a mess, and now that it's even if there are little problems, they're still way cheaper than even if you have to fix those problems than buying a big expensive American system. All right, what else is in the news?
It was brewsnews.com, by the way, that I pulled this from. So, it was a beer-centric website.
I was just curious who the message was going out to. You see what I mean? Like, I didn't know if it was in, the Chronicle or something. Yeah.
Not as of yet. Anheuser-Busch has temporarily halted beer production at its brewery in Cartersville, Georgia, to instead can drinking water for victims of the severe flooding in Texas and Oklahoma. Approximately 50,000 cans have gone to the two states so far. The company has partnered with the American Red Cross, which is helping to distribute the water to the areas most in need. AB says the company switches to emergency production like this several times a year to help in crisis. Have you guys heard of this before?
Sure.
Oh, you have? Okay, I hadn't. Earlier this month, it sent about 50,000 cans to those affected by tornadoes and storms in the Oklahoma City area. 25 people have died so far in these recent floods, and more are missing.
Do the cans say Budweiser on them?
They say non-alcoholic Budweiser, right?
It's free water.
But it's pre-printed, right? So they just put a label over it, or what?
I think it just says Budweiser.
It says Anheuser-Busch.
It's already water, right? Someone
says Anheuser-Busch.
They've been canning water for years.
Blood water.
I think I'm thinking like Henry, is that they just take an allocation of their regular Budweiser cans and fill them with water, but you're saying they're specific to that.
No, they have different cans.
I think you have to, because then you're misleading the product. But it says water is Anheuser-Busch.
Yes. I'm looking at it right now. It's got the A with the eagle, like the Anheuser eagle, and then it's just big blue block letters, water.
There's some other fine print or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Shouldn't their other beers have the same kind of labeling?
Right.
I knew that was coming.
Water.
Mostly water.
Yeah, mostly.
Well,
the other ones say mostly water. It mostly is in fine print.
50,000 cans, right?
So far.
Well, don't they have like a canning line that puts out like, I don't know, 500-600 cans a minute or something like that?
What size cans?
Seems like it's like like an hour, like
12
a
ounce.
day and a half's work or something.
Boys.
They just did.
So
they're making it sound like we shut down the brewery.
Tasty, are you looking a gift horse in the mouth?
Yes.
I have plenty of water, so what am I saying?
Right.
Actually, you don't.
But-
You're in California.
Well, yeah.
Hey, send some our way.
Please, Anheuser-Busch. We need it.
Who pays a lot more than 50,000 fucking cans?
Can we build
I'm
an
just saying
aqueduct?
that's a couple days' work.
Who pays the CRV on those?
Good question.
Well, it's
Probably
not going to-
Anheuser-Busch. If they're donating it, they're probably paying it all.
Yeah.
It's not going to California.
Well, that's cool of them.
I guess there's
It
no
is.
CRV.
I agree
We
with
are
you.
in a drought.
Yeah,
true.
Well, we should build an aqueduct from Texas to California. They're
We should tell them
inundated
we
and
need
we're
some
dry.
We need some cans here.
Well, we built one from here to Southern California.
Yeah, great.
Well, 'cause
Am
at
I
the
right,
time-
boys?
Great beer, Monkish.
At the time, we were inundated and they were dry. There you go.
How's that water?
Here's another one. The Drop Anchor Brewery. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Probably
No,
not.
they're going to get sued. That's just about. Yeah, okay.
All right, well, that's the story. Moving along.
Tasty's in the know.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, it's so obvious, right?
Well, they actually weren't sued yet. They were basically just told to cease and desist, which they have. They're located in Cathlamet, Washington, small town, 4,000 people along the banks of the Columbia River. They have announced that they are changing their name, of course, in response to a trademark infringement concern raised by our friends at Anchor Brewing. The brewery is now known as River Mile 38 Brewing Company. They consider it a compliment.
Which, by the way, went from a pretty catchy name to like the least
worst.
catchy name.
Way too many words.
It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
That's what I was going to say. It rolls right off the.
I'm sure it was a local.
It's their freeway exit, is what it is,
or
probably,
whatever.
you know?
But sometimes I just want to say this to the brewery world at large, who gives a shit about marketing. Sometimes your local thing is not a cool name. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're like, Chicken Hawk, whatever, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
That's not a good beer name.
Bemidji Brewing Company should have looked elsewhere. We know where you are.
Yeah.
The 405 Torrance exit beer.
Cahuenga.
Concord Brewing Company.
Next door to Taco Bell.
Terrible brewing name, exactly. And so sometimes people they do this. They start with something. They're willing to be sued over a great name, and then they switch over to
It's like they're just resigned.
Yeah, Clear Glassware Brewing Company.
They didn't even have to Google that. They thought hey, we'll call it Drop Anchor, and that won't be a problem. Well, it's a big problem actually.
Yeah,
they should have changed it to Drop Heavyweight to hold the boat in place.
Also just rolls off
Just to snub them.
Okay, now at least that's clever, and that is a sort of a good marketing name.
That would get some attention, right?
Yes.
See, and then they're just short enough to drop heavy.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone from Drop Anchor is listening, I'm sure they're dismayed to hear that, because apparently it took them several months and a trademark attorney to finally settle on a new name. So it's not as if no thought went into it.
When is it again, Scott? River Mile Marker.
The trademark attorney give his name.
0.4?
Yeah, that's it.
And what about breweries like Port Brewing and Bridgeport Brewing Company? Why could Anchor get after Drop Anchor Brewing Company?
Because they're not, I don't think they're selling bottles from Port Brewing. That's just the overarching
Port Brewing
company.
has bottles.
Yeah, they do.
But it's Pizza Port.
No, it just says Port Brewing Company.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck do I know?
I should be defending these guys, not their shitty lawyers.
What were you saying, Henry?
Well, there's also Port City.
Oh, there's also I also there is a whole it gets into a whole trademark thing. It depends on how much precedent there is. Anchor has owned and been defending actively the word anchor in other things since. What is it? The
1858.
And so when you have that sort of track record, you have precedence of doing it. It's much more defendable. If Port had been opened 8 times and whoever owned the first port never defended it all the way through, well, then you end up with several different versions of port. So this is the part of some of this litigation that people don't understand. It's the defensible part. Like if you don't actively defend it, Anchor. You could say it's to their credit, or some people think it's not to their credit, has defended Anchor vehemently since the beginning, and then that track record stands up in court.
No,
basically.
but I've also heard that by trademark law that if you have a trademark, you are obligated to enforce it.
Yes,
if
that's
you
right.
Don't you could lose that trademark?
Yes. That's my point exactly. That's exactly my point, and why there are others. So there have been times when even with the hop grenade, people have yelled at us for defending it, and this is one of the things I have to say. And I go, if I allow one exception, if I don't license it to you, because there was even a brewing company that I licensed it to finish off their run or whatever they had done, and they were upset about that. And I just said, look, if you don't defend it, by law you give it up. You're exactly right, Henry. And so that's why I think anyway the port thing maybe they didn't defend it all the way through.
That being said, I'm now opening a brewery called Trappist-ish.
The Trappist-ish.
So,
Trappist-ish.
hope you guys are fine with that.
Yeah, give it nothing with ish.
I'm going to do monk-like. I hope that's okay.
Yeah. Monk sort of.
Akin to monk.
All right. Well, good luck to River Mile 38 up there in Washington. And one last one.
Especially with that name.
This week.
River Mile.
This is a great story. You guys are going to love this one. You guys seen those party bikes, the like bar bikes where there's 6 people on each side and you pedal around town?
Yeah. That looks like a blast.
Those look horrible.
No, it looks like a blast.
You are an idiot.
They're all over Sacramento.
I said, I went up there
Not in
recently.
San Francisco.
Okay.
Bevo,
First of all,
There are none in San Francisco.
You won't find them.
You just don't like exercise.
that was actually
Is
going
that
to be
it,
my...
Bevo? You don't like pedaling?
They're also in Orange County.
She laughs a lot.
San Diego. They're not in Torrance because there's gang activity. That's right. But,
Look at Jack. Can you imagine a gang
I've seen him
Jack
in
in their
Denver.
beer bike?
Yeah, they're like, we're
pedal, motherfucker.
taking this thing.
Well, yeah, you got to shoot people, then pedal fast.
Everybody go. Bunch of fat drunks.
Unless one side pedals faster.
Just go in a circle.
Well, this it's Pedal Pub, this particular company. It's in Minneapolis. A ride on one of those things took a dark, wet turn over the weekend when riders were hit with water guns and water balloons by a group of bicyclists with bandanas over their faces. But the Pedal Pub riders happened to include a half dozen off-duty cops from a nearby town. The officers turned the tables, chased them down, subdued them, zip-tied them, and arrested them. And they're all now facing misdemeanor assault charges.
Wait, the off-duty officers had zip ties in their pockets?
Yes.
Never leave home without your zip ties.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll impress your girlfriend.
Here, let me actually, because it's hysterical, let me show you the aftermath of this. Here we go.
Bikes down there and zip-tied.
Why does it look like our general manager, Kevin, is like he's the head cop?
See if you can describe
the aftermath is several piles of people in different areas in the middle of an intersection, while a person who looks like Kevin is standing triumphantly above them.
Yeah,
basically.
How did they catch up to the guys on bikes?
They're super cops. I don't know. They chased them down somehow. They ran them down.
Warren.
They were wearing bandanas.
They called it in.
You've seen Joe on Family Guy. He'll chase down anybody.
This wheelchair.
This wheelchair.
This is the modern day Abu Ghraib. That's just what I'm saying.
Wait, so who's in trouble? Are the cops in trouble for doing something when they were off duty, or are the assaulters in trouble?
The latter.
Okay.
Do we know why they decided
misdemeanor
to
balloon
assault
throwing?
them?
Yes, we do. So these things there's some blowback about how much noise and sort of boisterous passengers these things generate. So
the anti-fun legislation.
Yeah, that exactly. Those people apparently created a Facebook page called "I Hate the Pedal Pub." It's got over 4,000 dislikes, but no one has gone as far as the group this weekend. So on Saturday morning this weekend, Lisa, the manager of Pedal Pub Twin Cities, ran across a post on the "I Hate Pedal Pub" page, calling on fellow haters to assemble at a certain park to plan an assault on the bike. So she called the cops. The cops kept an eye on the park, but nobody showed up. So the company deployed its 11 bikes as usual. But then around 6:30 that night, she got a call saying a group of bicyclists surrounded the One Pedal Pub and squirted water from a super soaker type, high pressure water gun into the driver's face and hit one passenger in the face with a water balloon. A short time later, a second Pedal Pub was hit, and that was the one with all the cops on it. And that was a big mistake.
Undercover mother.
I kind of love the outcome of that.
I do too. Yeah.
However, the cops are all going to get sued, and it's not going to be black and white.
They didn't beat anybody up.
You don't know.
Kind of like a Rod Farmer.
We'll see. I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying that their accusations will fly, is what I'm saying.
I guess.
Because that's what we do. We accuse.
Well, anyway,
we get all.
That sounds very accusatory.
We get all hurt that our genius plan didn't work because it wasn't like a group of teachers on holiday that we squirted. It was cops, and now we're going to cry about it. Is what I'm saying.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, nuns from the Vatican were over here, and they got totally blasted.
Yeah, it's high on the Vatican list of vacations is the pedal bike. In Sandy, which city was
this
it?
This was
in?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Tibetan monks. Tibetan.
You guys really?
Tibetan monks. That's what it is.
You really think that's fun? Like you would do that?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Wait, super soak or right?
You stop and you have a couple beers. You get a little exercise in between. You're sitting around a table with your friends, going to the next place. It's
you
fun.
get a tour of the city, and you get to drink.
Yeah.
It's a cultural experience.
You're burning the calories you're drinking at the same time. It's a neutral day for you.
Bevo, I'm sorry it requires movement.
Look.
What if you could do the water? You could join the water
have
people.
to pee?
Yeah.
That was what I was going to say. What if you have to pee?
You just go.
No, I think
you make stops at bars.
If it's
you do bar crawls.
If it's a smart company, when you sit in your chair, you attach to a receptacle.
Yes.
You get an assigned seat for every tour.
You don't wear any pants.
That's your seat for the night, and you get a receptacle. If it were my company, that's what I would do.
Excuse me, sir. I'm a lady.
Justin,
they make it's called a sheepy. And they make a thing for that. It's basically a funnel for
I know. Kate was going to buy me one
your
for my
lady
birthday.
part.
I requested that she
So-
did.
You're a female. You're not a lady.
This can all be built into the
I'm a
party
lady.
tram or whatever it's called.
Party tran. Just for trannies.
Yeah, put a motor
Bevo's
in
a
that thing,
wealthy
will you?
lady.
You know what? You
As long as it's not too cold.
Because then it won't fit.
And it won't reach it.
It'll leak.
between the
The problem is
funnel.
that it's going to leak.
You'll have short dick syndrome.
It'll go in between the funnel and your
And
seat.
you're going to pee all over yourself.
Yeah, like me.
That's the problem. Yes.
All right, let me
which
plug-
is, and by the way, in Minneapolis,
Yeah,
Minnesota,
Oh, yeah.
it's too cold.
Right, it's too cold.
December,
You wouldn't be able to
everyone's
reach
got
it.
short dick syndrome.
San Diego, we might be fine. 75, year round.
It's Turtle City there.
Let me plug the goddamn Wine and Hop
City,
Shop, please.
America.
Please, because they brought you the news, the Wine and Hop Shop. Go to wineandhop.com and do your online ordering there. If you enter the coupon code BN Shipping in the shopping cart at checkout, you'll get $8 flat rate shipping on packages under 50 pounds. So your next equipment or ingredient order, go to wineandhop.com and support those who support us.
Lovely.
Great
We're going to
news,
take
Scott. Great news.
Thank you.
We're going to take a very quick break, just a couple of minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to have another beer and a toast to the Monkish guys, and we're going to get out of here. How about that? Hang in there. It's the session, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters.
On the Brewing Network.
beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on beer styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable draft quality manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on two gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy.
BN Army, I'm here to talk seriously for a second. You all are partially responsible for something explosive, and it's time you answer for it.
Moonlight Meadery is exploding.
Yeah, exploding across the country. Wait, they just landed in Australia with insane quality meads.
With nearly 70 different varieties of mead on the market, Moonlight Meadery has blown up the mead category and completely reinvented it.
Seriously?
What?
Seriously.
What?
You're paying money for that watered-down mead when you could have a Moonlight mead?
Moonlight meads explode with quality and flavor.
They're a party in a bottle.
Did someone say party?
If you want mead and want the best, you want meads from Moonlight Meadery and will accept nothing less.
And now get 15% off by going to moonlightmeadery.com/BNArmy and use coupon code BNArmy at checkout.
Hey, sign me up for that party.
Attention home brewers, if you like making labels for your handcrafted awesomeness and wish more people could see how great you are, then check this out. Grog Tag, the makers of custom reusable labels, and craftbeerandbrewing.com are hosting the first ever National Homebrew Label Awards. The top 10 labels will be featured at the 2015 National Homebrewers Conference in San Diego to more than 5,000 attendees, and more than $2,500 in prizes will be awarded. If you've created a label at any time in the past year, you're eligible to enter. Grog Tag and Craft Beer and Brewing have teamed up with great sponsors like More Beer and the Brewing Network to make this competition a great one to enter. Submit your entries between March 1st and June 1st for your chance at fortune and glory at homebrewlabelawards.com. That's homebrewlabelawards.com. Submit your label entries today. Good luck, and we'll see you in San Diego. Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. Do you like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in, anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way.
Segmented, demented, fermented.
It's the session.
All right, hey, welcome back to the program, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I want to thank Monkish for driving all the way up here from that smoggy place you live in to come hang out with us.
It was a pleasure.
Is Torrance smoggy?
A little clean air.
No, not at all.
No, but it's the oldest city in the world.
It's the oldest city in the world?
It's mentioned in Genesis.
Is that right? Torrance.
It said the rain came down in Torrance.
Yeah, I love it. I thought the rain came down in Africa. That's the song. I know.
It was such a big storm. It came down in Torrance, but it was felt in Africa.
Right. That's the song by Toto.
It was raining men. That's how humanity started.
Shut up, Beardy.
Yeah,
And then-
you don't have to ruin every joke, Warren.
No, then everyone blamed it on the rain.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, he ruined it.
Yeah. It was
Trying to help you out, Beardy.
It was pre-ruined.
Oh.
That was a pre-ruined
I'm just
joke,
kicking a dead horse.
by the way. All right, so we've got one more Monkish beer in our glass, which I'm excited about. We're going to talk about that. I want to invite you out to the Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival, which is happening Friday, July 17th and Saturday, July 18th. It's a 2-day thing now that they do here, which is pretty cool. Tons of bands, the Chris Kane Band, Frankie G, and the Conviction, Spin Out, Karumpus Room, the Used Blues Band. That's all happening. Plus, there's obviously tons of great beer from great craft breweries. It's their 6th annual Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews, and we've been a part of it for a couple years. We will be out there. You can come meet us, and we'll have some of our logos and T-shirts on hand, and you can hang out with the Brewing Network crew. Henry, you'll be excited to know we'll be signing things. We'll be signing coasters at the Pleasant. There'll be a long line of people just waiting for us to sign things. This is a lie, by the way, but we will be there just in case.
Henry's like, that sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
Wait, there's going to be people there?
When are Four Friends and Sam going to headline the Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival?
I don't know, but Four Friends and Sam, it does turn out, are playing the BNA 10 White Labs 20 party.
That's right!
Yeah, Four Friends and Sam, we will be playing, and
Awesome.
the Monkish guys will be there pouring beer.
We're excited about that.
So haven't you?
We're going to dedicate a song to you guys. How about that?
Awesome. We're going to be pouring home
Called People Are Strange.
Brewcaster beers.
Tasty's Tasting Room, yes.
Guys got word from Nate. He'll have one, so that's Nate.
Oh, really? Because he was hemming and hawing.
Yeah, he's found something.
He found something.
Yeah, he'll have a sour.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes,
so
Evo?
Doc and Beardy and myself and Nate will be pouring beers.
I love it.
During the VIP hour.
I like to just during
if
the
there's
VIP
beer
hour.
over, there'll be somebody there pouring them, and you'll be able to try it.
I like to hear this. All right.
Sure.
Yes, Beav?
Oh, nothing. I was just going to comment on how you guys haven't practiced.
Oh,
You don't need to
Wednesday,
practice.
girl.
You don't need to practice. Overrated.
You know, when
It's all
you're
about the
this,
energy.
when you're this good and this good looking, have you seen Sam Bevo?
Four friends practice a lot.
Yeah.
It's Four Friends and Sam.
Sam doesn't need to practice. Sam's actually a really good musician.
Well,
yeah, there's that.
Actually, she says actually like we don't know this. like we've never met Sam.
Or
No,
like
no.
anybody would
With
believe
this.
that he's good at a thing.
Well, yeah.
Like a thing.
He's good at multiple things just having to do with inanimate
Look, you know
objects.
what? I don't compliment Sam very often, so just let it happen.
Okay, you're right.
Let it go.
Maybe
You're
you
right.
should.
How did I end up with 2 beers?
Did.
Oh, yeah.
I screwed up the first one and got the wrong beer, but now
The
you have
one
the right
to your
beer.
right.
So what are we drinking?
Does it
What's
smell
our
like
last?
coffee?
Yeah.
Henry?
Oh,
Henry?
yeah.
It's Cafe Della Vita.
Oh, that coffee smells fantastic.
We make a base beer called Seme Della Vita. It's Belgian triple with pistachios and vanilla bean. And so what we do with this beer, this is only our second time doing it, we get a very lightly roasted coffee from Portola in Orange County. They make a lot of coffee beers with breweries. It's a Yirgacheffe from Ethiopia, and it's so very heavy on blueberry and a lot of citrus notes, and it's lightly roasted to bring out more of the
that brightness,
citrus quality, so we can still keep the integrity of the Belgian triple.
Mm-hmm. That's delightful.
Yeah, so we also, the vanilla, this is an early batch. There's a little more creamier from the vanilla. We also always concerned about head formation and retention from the pistachios. So we do add oats and carafoam to try to keep it going. So
is that from the fat and the oil from the pistachios? Yeah. Okay.
So we, so it's nice creaminess. We do put orange peel and also some coriander seeds, so it gives a little more citrus. It's really hard to explain this beer.
You know, for a guy who didn't really know what the hell he was doing, at least that's how it sounded, you kind of know what the hell you're doing.
YouTube.
A lot of YouTube.
And Wikipedia.
Yeah, okay.
Do you pick your least favorite employee to have to clean out the fermenter after all of that stuff is sitting in the bottom of the tank?
Yeah, Brian.
It's all in sacks.
Oh, okay.
So it's not too bad.
So
the employees are in the sacks.
Enjoy.
Right. You drop them in a sack in the fermenter to clean
and then
it
they
up.
clean it up.
Yeah.
Enjoy this because Henry won't make this for another 12 years.
Teabagging.
Well, he will. He just won't like it.
Is there some lactose in it or something? It has a really creamy...
From the vanilla and the carafel.
Okay.
And oats.
And the oats. Well, yeah, the oats. That's what it is. The pistachios, where do you add those into the process?
So we only use dry roasted.
Sure.
So
Salted
it has
wouldn't
less
work.
oil because they don't
Yeah.
roast it with oil.
Yeah.
We tried it in the mash, but then we ended up just going only on the cold side.
And then
packaged
are
and
they
fried.
ground up? You just throw them in whole? What do you, what's
I'm a pretty lazy guy. First batch, we were like just crushing them up. I was going in my oven and baking sheet after baking sheet trying to toast them. Now we just throw them in whole.
It's more of a symbolic thing. I don't get a lot of pistachio.
Once everything else fades out, you get a lot more pistachio. So
Great, I'll wait.
Yeah.
It comes out. It's a weird beer because there's certain times it has this weird life, and certain time and then temperature. All of a sudden, it's a Belgian triple with pistachio. You're like, this is it.
It's always like the last
weird.
keg, and then someone in the tasting room says, "You got to try the beer."
Yeah, it's like the last quarter of the
so
keg,
good.
and you're like, and then all the employees are like,
Right.
we just drink it all because like there it is. There's a sweet spot where this beer.
You should
is
bottle that
unreal.
off and release a different beer that's like
just call it last keg,
extra pistachio or something.
We tried bottling it; it doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we called it
vanilla
semi
because we
Del
bottle
Vita.
condition everything.
Semi.
It doesn't work.
Semi Del Vita.
Okay.
Last keg at the 30-mile mark where he dropped it next to the river.
Yeah, where there's a dead fish or something. Yeah. This is wonderful. I wish I had this for breakfast all weekend long
Yeah,
at the
seriously.
Firestone Fest. That would have been.
It's an easy 9.8%.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I
It's
really
like-
wish I had it
Yeah.
for breakfast at the Firestone.
Well, especially because those cheap asses at Firestone didn't provide any coffee on Sunday.
Yeah.
Lap of luxury Friday and Saturday.
no coffee?
All right,
No,
Sunday
it was-
morning, nothing.
It was at the brewery, but
right.
because somebody didn't feel like getting up before 10:30, we missed it.
Well, that's okay. I understand because
there was a plan.
Why would we have?
Who had a plan?
The best way to
Firestone
get people
did.
out of your area is to get them juiced up on coffee and tell them to fucking spam.
Well, no, you tell them where the coffee is.
With no coffee.
Well, exactly.
Pour
Okay.
over. We pour
So-
over in the car.
This is a good point that you're making, and in Firestone's defense, for people who don't get the joke here, they fed us 3 meals, coffee every single day except for the Sunday morning that JP is mentioning, and we drove our own selves with a moving kitchen house thing.
Yes.
So I just want to point out for anybody who missed the sarcasm,
Thank you.
that Firestone is
Yes.
not cheap at
No.
all.
No.
I mean, seriously, holy cow, do they roll out?
Yeah,
I wish our festival could be like that.
We could treat
We
brewers
can't
like that.
afford our festival to be like that. They go nuts.
They treat the brewers really well there.
Well, I said lap of luxury, but Warren wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, as happens. So,
Warren.
Okay.
Maybe I'll go next year.
Yeah, Doc, get on that list, will you?
Yeah, you can easily fit in like the luggage compartments underneath or whatever, like with the shitty hose. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
one less suitcase. I can shit right there.
Doc, I feel like as unrestricted as I am, you would be a liability.
He would need 2 handlers.
Because you would not only hurt me, but maybe yourself and others at the Firestone
Everybody
Fest.
knows that. They know that going in.
They expect it going in.
He makes a point.
I mean, I think you have maybe a carte blanche invitation to almost every other festival except maybe the Firestone Festival. Because I'm frightened by what happens together.
That's the invitational part. They invite everybody except Doc, so, so they can keep doing it next year.
I feel like even if Doc camped just outside the fence, he would still party harder than the rest of us at the festival.
I'm sure my picture's up there on the front. Don't let him in.
Do not let this.
admit.
Yeah. Brewing Network allowed, except for maybe Shimpy now
Augustina.
and Doc. Yeah. So, all right. Twitter game for the night was Steve Perry or the Filipino Kid.
Yes.
I feel like we should take a studio poll first.
Okay.
Before we go to the Beaver. I already know your stupid vote because you're stupid.
Well, that's one.
No, because
that's not
I'm-
discounted.
Well, she gets 2 votes, right?
And
She
both
always
of them,
has before.
Yes, and both of them go towards the original Steve Perry.
Henry, what's your vote?
2 votes.
Steve Perry or the Filipino Kid?
Are we choosing one or the other?
Yes.
Oh.
And you can't. And there are no questions. And there is no.
I had to explain to Henry what you guys are actually talking about.
No qualified answers.
We're detached from reality.
You're a brewer who's never heard the band Journey?
Yes, Journey, but who's the Filipino kid?
He's the new Journey.
He's the replacement guy.
You're not missing
he's
anything.
The actual replacement.
You're not missing anything.
And he looks like him too.
And by the way, you're the only one in 3 days that I've allowed a further explanation.
Close enough.
Give him like a 15-second history, like on how you use a YouTube sensation.
So
it's a pretty amazing story.
Okay, so thank you for finally conceding a point.
I've conceded that point. I've never removed that point.
So Steve Perry, I don't know, something happened to him. He got herpes or something. He couldn't play in the band anymore.
He said he hurt his hip and he couldn't get out there and do it. Most people think he couldn't hit the high notes anymore, so he used an excuse to not go back out with the band.
So the band who helped write all these songs, but they're sort of nothing without the person. Journey is not a band that you can go out with somebody who sounds different. You got to go out with somebody who sounds like the original. And so they found this like YouTube sensation kid singing karaoke in the Philippines who was just like killing it. He just sounded amazing. And
exactly
also,
like the original.
And not just sounding that way, but like his excitement for doing it. He's dancing all over the stage. He's jumping in the air. He's splitting. So they hired him. That's the...
How old is he?
Is this the karaoke version of it? Yeah.
I would guess he's in his 20s or so. He's pretty young.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know. Henry, as you know, you can't tell with Asians. Like, you might be 55 or you might be 27.
This guy's 87.
Filipinos are Pacific Islanders.
Okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
He's Vietnamese.
Like, you just can't tell. How old are you?
38.
You easily could be 58, and none of us would know.
I used to go and sell beer, deliver
That's
beer
Henry at 15.
that I made, and they want to cart
Henry.
Yeah. Here's a YouTube clip of Henry 4 years ago.
Thank you.
This was his 7th career. Henry has had so many careers.
Just saying, Justin, you weren't even music viable when Steve Perry was in his prime.
Oh, I was music viable. I was totally music viable.
7?
I was music viable. Listen, I was an early learner.
Oh yeah, so
Don.
you went to how many?
So I
Journey
have seen
concerts in
his
the 70s?
evolution, and I have now seen the Filipino kid's evolution.
Separate Ways is one of the best.
I wasn't
music
even
videos
a
ever.
glint in my father's eye when Steve Perry was in his prime, and I know.
I know, because you're not even... Beardy is not even 30 yet.
You're not?
He's
Wow.
not.
You look
great. You look awful.
Yeah. So that being said,
They have
Henry,
cream for that.
All right, Henry. That being said, now that you know Henry,
Steve Perry,
All right.
or the Filipino kid.
Anything YouTube related, I'll vote for the Filipino kid.
Thank you. Thank you for playing.
Can I just say that I appreciate this guy more than the guy who took over for Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Okay, that's fine, and this is why this is a great argument, because no other takeover has ever been as good as Apnel Paella.
But that doesn't make him better than the original.
I love paella.
Than Steve Paella. That doesn't make it better than the original.
Paella.
Call him Steve Paella.
Or something.
All right, Brian, your vote, please.
I don't know. The classics are just too good. Separate Ways is one of the best music videos ever.
Yep.
So you're going Steve Perry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 votes.
Well,
and he looks like my best friend, one of my best friends in high school.
But has the Filipino kid had an opportunity to make a music video?
Well, I mean, depends on how you view.
Good question.
He's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a video.
It's a good question.
Set to music.
Yeah. Tasty?
Yeah.
Well, I have no allegiance to Journey or Steve Perry, so I think the Filipino guy is
No, the Filipino kid.
Sorry.
Okay. Because otherwise,
Tasty's a write-in with the Filipino guy.
It just clouds the issue, and we don't need that.
Steve Perry's like he's done, so we get to have Journey at its best. So I'm going Filipino kid.
Well,
good point.
But it sounds like it's a vote for the Filipino kid because he sounds like Steve Perry.
Yeah, that's good
Not
for
because
him.
he's better.
No.
The argument is who's better.
Yes.
2-3.
Bullshit.
Shimky.
But would you vote for Steve Perry if he didn't sound like Steve Perry anymore?
2-4 because I got.
I don't think you would.
I got
This
2
is
votes.
my
why
nostalgia
maybe he
argument.
quit.
This is why I say
nostalgia
everybody who votes
argument.
for Steve Perry
That's
is voting
insane.
based on nostalgia.
You're
totally nostalgia.
The guy is invoking nostalgia anyways. It's a null argument.
And he's better at it. Kim Shipke.
or scream?
See, this is Justin and I were on the same page for a long time there because the argument wasn't who's better. It was that the Filipino kid is amazing, not who is better.
Actually, I always asked who's better.
Yes.
The original question was who's
that wasn't
better.
until you started drinking late on Saturday night.
Oh,
You started
really?
asking who's better. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Before it was like an actual conversation, not you just drunkenly yelling at people.
Not him just
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm doing the diplomatic thing here, and I'm going to say both are amazing.
No, you got to pick one.
Oh, my
Just, you guys have to answer the question.
What are you, a third grade teacher?
You get 2 votes, and you're just
The
going to
question is
waste
this: Steve Perry or the Filipino kid?
The original.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Hey, 5-2 now.
4-2.
That's emoji approved.
5. If
4.
Bevo
We were
gets
just
2.
3-2. Now
No,
we're 4-2.
only Bevo gets 2.
I get
Kim
2
gets
votes.
1.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Kim doesn't get 2.
She's less of a woman than Bevo?
Yes.
That's
All
5.
right.
Clearly.
1, 2,
my chest,
JP. 4, 5.
Well, they weren't counting me because we already know
I didn't ask
which way
JP.
it is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
4-2.
They know what's. Never mind.
Moskowitz.
Well, you might want to take my opinion with a grain of salt because I really don't like Journey, but
And-
the Filipino kid is clearly better.
Even though he's no Geddy Lee.
4-3.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it, Moscow. Thank you.
You can't sound better than the original when you're trying to sound like the original.
Yes, you can.
I was actually going to Doc. I was going to Doc for the next vote, please, Gertie.
Doc's vote is Steve Perry. He told me to tell you that.
Doc, what is your vote?
Well, having seen Steve Perry multiple times and the new kid
Yes.
live,
Kid.
Yes.
Steve Perry.
Yeah.
That, by the way, does have some weight to it. He made a good caveat
Yeah.
there.
Nostalgia.
5-3. Beardy?
Steve Perry.
6-3. My vote is for the Filipino kid. That's 6-4. JP's is for Steve Perry. That's 7-4.
Filipino kid's the winner.
I feel like the Filipino kid wins again.
Why
Does that even happen?
Why don't we
You go to the live studio audience and see how they're voting. Because I will keep asking all through the city of Concord until I get the answer I want.
By the way, they have their checks up for. They have their hands up for the check, not because they want to vote.
Yeah. All right. What did the poll of our listeners say, JP?
Well, it was a little underwhelming, but I will say it was 2-1 in favor of Stephen Perry.
Wow, it was close.
Yeah, Brian Baumgart said Steve Perry can suck a dick. Which maybe he can. I
Which
don't
was,
really know.
by the way, we only asked for 2 answers.
Right.
That was not one of them.
He said he could use 3 words.
Yeah.
Suck a dick.
Okay.
Missile said Steve Perry's the best rock tenor ever, which we could have gotten the subtleties of our argument, but I'm over it now. Nico just calls us racist.
Okay.
Which I guess, and
Which, by the way, I have an argument against that too. I found that to be
racist.
Something that people said while I was polling people live at Firestone as well, and I was like, "Why is it racist? He's a kid who's Filipino.
Yeah, he's from the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
well,
then
It's descriptive, not racist.
He might not be a kid, but that's ageist if you want to really. Put
If
a fine
anything,
point on it.
I'm If anything, I'm super jealous that he's aged so well. He's twice my age,
Yeah. And he's
he
more
looks
successful.
and he's more successful, and he looks 14.
I think he's 89. Is what I read on the internet.
But they also said if you liked him enough, you would actually know his name.
Well,
where he's from.
Yeah.
Pitaya.
And then Brulosifer says, obviously, Steve. Obviously.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Steve Perry wins again.
So 2-1 Steve Perry, huh?
Yeah.
Once again, I'm disappointed in our fans.
Well, so it sounds like the one guy who voted for the Filipino kid is the winner of the Twitter game.
That's right. Winner!
Brian Baumgart.
Yeah, send that kid a prize.
Well,
not sending that kid a
That's
prize.
not
you
true.
are.
Hold on. He never actually voted. He just expressed his interest in having Steve Perry, or he's expressed his whatever about Steve Perry, his ability to suck a dick.
Was his name Manny Pacquiao?
No.
He's a great singer.
It's not
Is
his,
it- yeah,
who's also a great singer.
Great singer.
Is he the
I would have
Filipino
accepted
kid's
that as a third answer.
backup?
Steve Perry, the Filipino kid, or Manny Pacquiao.
I'm going to change my vote.
Yeah. All right. Well, I say that the one who voted for the Filipino kid wins.
He just commented on Steve Perry's ability to put a wiener in his mouth. He didn't vote for the Filipino kid.
Well, I don't like it when you put it that way.
Yeah, so no one voted for the Filipino
Right.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no one... No,
It's not 2-1 then.
Well, now clearly we know who the racists are. It's all of you. It's all of you.
That's true. Thanks, Obama.
All right, thanks for playing our Twitter game tonight. Thanks once again to the Monkish crew for coming up here and spending some time with us. I appreciate it. I know it's a long drive. And we will see you at BNA 10, White Labs 20, pouring beer, which I think is fantastic. And don't worry, Henry, we'll find you like a private room somewhere. You and JP.
We actually have a Pope mobile for Henry.
Yeah.
Guards him.
Oh, wow.
What I want is like one of those rooms that have no like sensory deprivation chambers.
Yes.
Kind of like David Cross.
I can't see shit. I can't hear shit. Nobody can talk to me, and I just want to sit there.
And you'll be so happy in that room.
How about just
I can
some
imagine.
golden ropes around you so people can't get too close?
No, you won't like that because then they can stare,
Yeah,
and you won't like that. You want to be,
Yeah,
I don't like that.
We'll work on it.
All right. Well, I'm excited that you guys are going to pour, and I appreciate it very much. So we'll see you then.
Yep.
That's a little over a week from now. You can go to BNA10.com. If you're listening to the program and you want to try some Monkish beer, then that's where to do it. I would like to thank Kim Shimke for...
Something.
Yeah, you did it.
Well,
for attempting to back me up on the journey discussion. You failed at the end, much like the rest of your weekend at work and drinking Four Loko and everything else that you failed at.
She didn't even poop for 4 days.
But that's true.
She succeeded at being consistent.
That's failing at the end, if you know what I mean.
It's true. She texted us this morning that she finally pooped after 4 days. All right, that's a success. You had one success all weekend long.
Well, no, but it took her till Monday to do it.
Kim Shimke, ladies and gentlemen. And that's all I have. Are you ready to go?
That's all we deserve.
We're off the next 2 weeks. We'll be back June 22 with Iron Fire Brewing Company. Come party at NHC in the meantime.
That's right. You can come see us there. Plus, we'll be recording some shows from there. And we've got footage coming up from the Firestone Walker Beer Festival. Oh, also, I think we're going to be at the Mammoth Blues and Brews Festival.
Oh, we're going to be there, too.
Go check out Mammoth Blues and Brews and buy yourself some tickets if you want to hang out with us there. We're going to be doing some video.
We're going to hang out at the clock tower.
Henry will see you there.
It gets weird.
You guys are going to Mammoth, too?
Yeah, I'll be there.
And have you been?
Oh, yeah.
So somehow I've always...
Worst drunk I've ever been.
It's terrible. I've always missed this festival, so I'm excited to... I think we're going to go this year.
Elevate. Make sure you just eat.
Oh, yeah. See, I have a problem with eating.
Yeah, as in you have some Sazeracs and...
Yeah, you're not very rich.
You can take the poll there, too.
You can take the poll there. Oh, yeah. I'll help you out.
I'm sure I will. Yeah. Have a couple beers and we'll be taking polls, man. I guarantee. It'll be some other stupid question.
Actually, I've been working with the people who throw that festival to have the Steve Perry or the Filipino Kid panel.
Oh, it's unreal.
We should start a petition.
Or hire... It is a concert festival. Maybe they can come play. At least a hologram of Steve Perry is available.
Next election year, we should file a petition for the state of California. That way we can vote on this.
Is it like $18 or
Get a
something?
consensus.
Just a vote.
Maybe we could do that.
Go look up Mammoth Blues and Brews and buy yourself some tickets there and come see us.
Yes, please.
That's a good time.
All right. Hey, thanks for making our hangover show much more fun, guys. I appreciate
you're
no problem.
I wasn't talking to you, JP. Are we good?
Just shut up.
Yes.
You going to get us out of here?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Henry and Brian came up from Monkish Brewing in Torrance. Find them wherever Henry decides their beer should be sold. Follow JP on Twitter at Major Jip, and if you're any kind of Disneyland or Disney World fan, and let's be honest, who isn't, support his new endeavor, Coveyears. Go to getcoveyears.com for the best way to find your Disney park style and customize that classic raggedy-ass Mickey Mouse ear hat. Warren still refused to shut the fuck up. For some good beer insight at Homebrew Info, follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Production director on the session has been Push Eject. Today's show has been produced by Scott Moskowitz. JP was existing only in the most basic sense of the word. Viva was basking in her Canadian tan. And your host was Justin Crossley. Be sure to find Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Bye, Felicia.
What's a Canadian tan?
She's like really pale. Because she went to Canada. It was really only supposed to be funny for me and whatever her name is. Beverly.
Got it. Thank you.